What's up, guys? Hit that like button. Be right with you. All right, here we go, guys. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. How we doing? Everybody's with us. Everybody's doing fine today. Thursday, the 20th of August, 2026. You have just popped in somehow to the world's best political podcast. My name is Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day. Filter in. Welcome in, one and all. Everybody is welcome. Just make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell on the way in. That's all you got to do. What do you say we say hi to the chat before we get into the craziness and the nonsense that we got to be covering today? We're going to be doing things a little bit backwards. We typically leave the Ukraine coverage till the second half of the show, but because of the recent strikes, the overnight strikes utilizing the North Korean missiles just, 24, 48 hours after Donald Trump publicly several times went on to praise Kim Jong-un, publicly throw our ally South Korea under the bus, limit the United States' participation in the naval military exercises, meant to send a signal to Kim Jong-un, to North Korea, that if they continue to do this or that, if they want to play games with South Korea, if they want to continue to, pretend to shoot up nuclear missiles and talking about shooting them against the West, then this is what you can expect as a response. Not only that, but it should be, if we had a real commander-in-chief, a real president, to put pressure upon North Korea to stop sending missiles and, men and equipment over to Russia so that they could stop utilizing those to kill our allies. So we're going to be going over the news, roughly 14 or so that were killed in these attacks last night, massive attacks in Kyiv. We got all of the footage, all of the angles, all of the video to talk about. So if you could hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. But like I said, before I get too ahead of myself, let's say hi to the chat. Dame, what's going on, my brother? How are you? Thank you for everything. First and foremost, shout out to the mods. Big salute. Thank you to every single one of you guys, regardless of what platform that you may be on. And we are on a bunch of platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Substack, and Kick. So again, no matter where you are, no matter what platform you utilize, you should be covered if you want to catch some blunt politics here. So thank you to Sarah. Thank you to Jupiter Judy. Moms, how are you, dear? How's everything? What's going on, Jay? Slava Ukraine, right back at you. Frisky, how are you? Slightly mad, Mom. Good day to you. Vasantha, how are you doing? Good to see you so much. Thank you guys for the generosity and the support that you guys show. Philly 3000, how are you? Carl, my man, what's going on? Basic Coding 101, shout out to you. Mr. Foss, what's happening? Bob, let's go. Tracy, let's go. Alvin, let's fucking go. All right. A couple of the topics. One of them I already leaked. Like I said, we're going to start off with the overnight attacks on Kyiv by Russia. We'll also later in the show get into the responses. Obviously, Ukraine was not just sitting back with their fucking hands under their ass. They obviously struck back last night as well. So I want to talk about that. I want to touch on a little bit before we dive into some of the other topics today at the tail end of the reporting here from these strikes about the Fedorov situation. Fedorov seemingly demanding elections now. We'll get into that when it comes, but I want to give my 2 cents on that. We also have more video surfacing from Natalie Hopp during her best Ava Braun impression. So a lot of people are now digging back up her OAN appearances and the things that she used to say and how sycophantic she is towards Donald Trump. So again, it just aligns with what her mom taught her growing up. Coming from her brother that was on with CNN. Coming from the fact that she has this illusion that Donald Trump came and healed her in the hospital with his own tiny little hands, and then obviously the proximity to power that she has. You can see why she has the position that she holds. So we'll take a look at a couple things like that. We have the IHIP ladies that are back to talk about more of the Natalie Hopp situation. So I feel like you could dive into that, get a couple laughs out of that one. Trump issues an economic D-Day threat against basically all Iranian trade partners. He put that on Truth Social, so we'll go over that as well. And then we also have Benny Johnson. So if Donald Trump's putting out some propaganda on Truth Social, that means that Benny Johnson's propaganda is not far behind. We'll also touch on the oil and gas prices, what people around this country are continuing to pay at the pump, the continued fluctuation, rise and drop and rise in oil prices. Right now, I think we're hovering at about 90 or so, high 80s, low 90s. Like I said, we'll take a look at all of the the different oil and gas prices as well. But let's dive into this coverage, which, again, if you have a little bit or a couple brain cells rattling around in the head, should absolutely infuriate you, which it has to me. To wake up, especially, every single morning you have to wake up and hear the news, but especially after the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, has literally gone on national television to praise the dictatorial, madman, murderous leader of North Korea, who continues to say that the West is his greatest enemy. The object of North Korea and its military is to destroy, ultimately, the United States and the greater Western powers. For him to go out and remove the United States, basically limit our participation in the joint military exercises, which are a big way to send a message, a big way to project our power, right? That's the whole purpose, obviously, to keep the the equipment and the men and the women serving in the area ready and alert and up to speed, and kind of being able to react to what might happen in these exercises. Obviously, there's a whole nother aspect to it, but it's obviously to send a clear message to people like Xi Jinping, to people like Kim Jong-un, to people like Vladimir Putin, that we can and will continue to project our power to help and to stand side by side with our allies. And literally the opposite has come from Donald Trump and, his mouth, his rhetoric, the things that he said just in the last couple days, right? They got 57 nukes. Oh, I don't like the way that this looks with the exercises. This is a bad look. He's quite literally calling the intended purpose of the exercises a bad look, because he is interpreting this through his personal relationship with a guy that has done nothing but manipulate the shit out of Donald Trump, like every other fucking dictator on the planet has done. Schmooze him, butter him up, call him the best every time you meet him, whatever you got to do. Meanwhile, you go back home and you just kick the United States in the nuts repeatedly, and Donald Trump is none the wiser. But this is from last night. This is Max26 on Twitter here. The Russians used at least 13 hypersonic Zircon missiles, 8 Iskander-M ballistic missiles, and 2 North Korean-made KH-23 ballistic missiles to strike Kyiv. People are trapped in a shelter in the Solomansky district. That's from Klitschko. And the premises of the Children's Hospital were also damaged. Windows were broken. Cars are burning in the area. So there's more to report there from Max as well. But let me go here from the start. And we do have a little bit of footage coming in. This is from Dennis from Ukraine. It says Russia has turned an ordinary summer night when millions in Kyiv were already asleep into hell. This video shows several missile strikes hitting the Ukrainian capital in rapid succession. Russian forces have already launched more than 20 missiles against Kyiv and its suburbs, with residential buildings hit and power disruptions reported across parts of the city. So again, a huge problem that Ukraine is facing right now as far as their ability or lack of ability to intercept these missiles. Okay, and Russia knows it, and Russia is doing everything they possibly can to ramp up production, right? To increase their stockpiles, to do anything they can to pad the number of weapons that they have, whether that's accepting the North Korean missiles, doing whatever they have to do with their own production process, to kick that into high gear, turn other companies into, building these types of components or weapons so that they can produce more. Like, they understand that this is a weak spot. This is a very weak spot. Looking at the situation around the world as far as interceptors, it's looking at the United States, right? Looking at our stockpiles, looking at how we're crying poor mouth here as far as interceptors and our continued fight with Iran. Like, it's unlikely right now, especially since we ourselves are Donald Trump's talking about building factories at this moment in time. Like, that's going to help us in our fight with Iran. Like, we're that low where he's having to come up with some answer to this problem. And his answer is that all of our defense contractors are in the midst of building 3 or 4, I forget the number he said, different factories. Well, okay, that's many years down the line in which you could expect any production or any of those production facilities to inevitably get their shit to the front line to be used. So what are we doing in the meantime? Like, that's the problem that we face, because we don't see an off-ramp to this war. It continues to go back and forth. We continue to hear our Gulf partners, our Gulf allies in the regions talk about how they're low, drastically low on interceptors. Israel's saying the same thing, low on interceptors. So again, it's very unlikely that Ukraine is going to get anything, at least from those parties involved. We continue to look at what European kind of replacements, something that would obviously not be as effective, but something that at least would take some of the missiles out. But it remains to be seen. We have heard that the Ukrainians have started to target different, ballistic missile sites in ways in which that Russia is able to shoot these into Ukraine. But I mean, again, that's just kind of biting at the toe of the giant. We need a long-term solution. This on the back of the lie that Donald Trump told, basically promised Ukraine and Volodymyr Zelensky the rights to licensing to produce their own Patriot missiles. Remember when he said it doesn't matter what the company said? I haven't told the company yet, but it doesn't matter because I'm so big, bad, and tough. What I say goes. Well, obviously that was a lie. So he's reneged on that. He's stepped back from that. Either the company, which I believe is what the reports have said, the company basically told him to fucking pound sand. They don't want to give up the rights to, this equipment for fear of, them getting better, the Ukrainians getting better at the production process, being able to do it cheaper. Obviously, then that, the United States defense contractors would look an asshole for charging the Pentagon so much for each weapon when inevitably we'll find out that it costs, half or a third of the price that they're charging that. So who knows what they're afraid of, but obviously Donald Trump was denied. Donald Trump then had to deny and go back and renege on his promise that he made publicly to Ukraine for the licensing rights on the Patriots. But this is the result, right? He's praising Kim Jong-un, throwing our ally, South Korea, under the bus, telling the United States military to limit its participation in joint military exercises to project our power and strength and to send a message to Kim Jong-un as Kim Jong-un is sending weapons and manpower to Russia so that they can shoot it at Ukraine to kill our allies, the Ukrainian civilians, on a nightly basis. Like, if that doesn't infuriate the fuck out of you, if that doesn't embarrass the shit out of you, like if you're talking to an international friend or somebody that lives out of country, whatever it may be, you should have that fucking feeling of embarrassment for the way in which our country is handling this. I know you have, no impact on that, and it's not directly your fault by any stretch of the imagination, especially people watching this program who voted in the correct direction. But still, even me, as we do this all day long, calling out Republicans, calling out Trump, trying to call out the propaganda, the lies, and the bullshit and the gaslighting. But I am embarrassed. I am absolutely and utterly embarrassed to be an American citizen, to see that our president is out there literally sucking the dick of dictators all around the planet as they literally help our enemies kill our allies. There's no other way around it. There's no other way to put it. That's what's going on. Civilians are being targeted with North Korean weapons as Donald Trump gets out there and praises the North Korean dictator for being such a fucking wonderful guy, for being so, what do you call him, peaceful and respectful, something along those lines. That's fucking delusional. You're living on an alternate fucking planet, okay? That is, it's so ridiculous that only history will look back on this and be able to adequately, summarize how fucking much of how, I don't even know what to say, how crazy the times that we're living in right now. We're that frog in the boiling water right now. It just doesn't, we may feel it, but we don't understand to what degree we're actually being damaged, or to what degree this is historic in terms of, a United States president, or again, just the reign of the United States in general, and what this means going forward for world power, for, the world dominance that the United States has seen for so long, or thought they had seen for so long. But all right, let's see this real quick. It's about 45 seconds. Couple videos of the missiles hitting Kyiv last night. Again, think of this as you're looking at North Korean missiles hit our allies, kill and target innocent civilians in the city of Kyiv. And Donald Trump's out there praising and talking about how great the North Korean dictator is. And, he doesn't like the message being sent when we go out there and project our power, to make sure that, and again, that's just the bottom of the barrel as far as what the United States president and the military should be doing as far as joint military exercises and projecting our power. That is we're scraping the bottom of the goddamn barrel, right? He should be out there literally projecting as much power, putting as much pressure, as many sanctions as humanly possible, as many threats, whatever he has to do to make sure that Kim Jong-un knows not to get the fuck involved on the other side, to help our enemy continue to kill our ally, not to supply missiles, not to supply men and equipment. But he's not doing that, is he? Everything's hunky-dory as far as, he thinks that Kim Jong-un's been respectful the entirety of the time that Donald Trump's been in office. Like, that's how fucking deluded he is. That's how delusional this son of a bitch is, and how much he only cares about his personal relationship with these fucking dickhead dictators. Right here, this is the result.
А? О, нихуя себе. Я это тоже снял, да. Ну это мощная эта хуйня. О, еще летит. Пух, нахуй. Я это тоже снял. Да, конечно, ебашит плотно. Я того рот ебал. Я здесь такие фейерверки снял.
So again, that's just one angle from one shot from the strike last night. We talked about, like I said, Max reporting here, kind of the extent of the strike. And this was at the time of reporting, so it may have already increased since then. I know there's been, increased attack and ongoing attacks even this morning. That have been reported on. So we'll go through it all. We'll see if we can catch everybody up to speed. Let's go back here to see if there was anything from Dennis that we need to catch up on. That was the one that we just watched there. He says here, this is 20 hours ago, reported that the Kyiv mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, said that based on preliminary data, people are trapped in the basement in one of the city's districts. And again, we'll just continue to go on to current time here to see what we can catch up on. This was 19 hours ago, again, from Dennis from Ukraine. Ukrainian monitoring channels report that Tu-95 MS strategic bombers have launched Kh-101 cruise missiles, which are expected to enter Ukrainian airspace in an hour. Russia has already launched a total of 30 ballistic missiles and cruise missiles at Kyiv and its suburbs overnight. And again, I don't know where that lies in terms of the biggest, or as far as numbers, but I do believe the day that we got to Kyiv on our convoy, with our convoy delivering the aid and equipment and the vehicles, that was the night of the, statistically, I believe, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, the largest ballistic missile attack. So, and it was somewhere in the 30s, right, if I remember correctly. So this is right in that same area. So a very, very large attack here, which again, to the best of my knowledge, took out and killed about 15 or so, 15 plus, because again, the attacks are ongoing, and I'm sure the news reports are as well. But the last number I saw was around 14 or 15 that have been killed in these attacks. Again, this is 18 hours ago. It says Russia has reportedly launched 20 more missiles against Ukraine. If true, again, that's somewhere in the 50s. So that would undoubtedly, as far as I am aware of, make that the largest attack, or amongst the largest attacks as far as missiles into Kyiv. It says Ukraine expects 12 Kh-101 cruise missiles and 7 Caliber cruise missiles, which are expected to enter the airspace in the next hour. These figures remain preliminary, with further launches still possible. Russia's, and again, 17 hours, so ongoing up here to current timeline. Russia's massive attack on Kyiv on August 20th has killed at least 4 people and injured 23. Again, you can see how the reporting comes in hot and heavy here. According to the State Emergency Service, a 9-story apartment building was heavily damaged, with its upper floors destroyed and a fire breaking out, while people were also reported trapped in residential buildings and a basement. Strikes and fires were recorded across several districts of the capital, damaging homes, warehouses, medical facilities, and vehicles. Emergency crews remain at the scene, and casualty figures may still change, which, of course, they since have. So let's see here. This is reporting massive Russian attack on Kyiv overnight. August 20 kills at least 4. And again, this was at the time, at least of these strikes here. So we'll continue. There's another angle, another shot of homes that were being burnt. A hellish night in Kyiv. At least 4 people have been killed and 23 injured. Rescuers have posted footage showing the aftermath of Russian missile strikes on Ukrainian capital, with residential buildings burning in several districts of the city. And again, allowed personally by the President of the United States, by not putting any pressure whatsoever on both parties involved, right? Both the dictatorial leader of Russia and Vladimir Putin, and the dictatorial ruler of North Korea, who again supplied some of the missiles that went into killing these Ukrainian civilians. But here's some of the aftermath from this strike here last night. And again, I don't need to consistently point out, but I will, the fact that these are apartment buildings that we're seeing. These are residential units, right? These are neighborhoods. And that's exactly what I saw in my roughly 3 weeks that I spent under Russian missile attack in Kyiv. Was the fact that, every morning you woke up and you found out what areas were hit. It was not, a military base. It was not, some factory that made or produced weapons, right? It was largely, in the majority of the time, just random residential neighborhoods, just random McDonald's, or just random, stretches where there's businesses that Ukrainian citizens have and run their fucking livelihoods out of. That's the majority of the time what you're seeing, and you're consistently seeing it here, right? Where are the soldiers that were targeted? Where are the bases? Where are the training facilities? Where are the tanks? Where are the aircraft that you're going to see? I'm sure that's gonna one thing you're not going to see as far as this footage is concerned. I mean, that looks, I don't know what that last one was, but it looks almost like a school type of building, right? And we have an update, I believe, from Liv Schreiber on Instagram as well that we'll look at, where he's looking at the wreckage in the morning from this and talking about what he sees and the schools that are around and how it's a civilian neighborhood. So we'll take a look at that after as well. So again, these are the exact people that that Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces, continues to coddle up to, continues to cozy up with, and praise and talk about his great relationship and how fantastic they are as leaders. This is the result of that. They feel emboldened. They feel like this is the time to strike, which obviously, we've seen kind of, come to fruition in a lot of different areas, and we continue to look weaker on the world stage. Right? The fact that we're low on interceptors and it's being widely reported, not a good fucking thing when your enemies know that. When you're looking at ATACMS and long range missiles and talking about your stockpile usage of those, the expenditures on those, not a great thing when that's widely reported and your enemies know that. Not a great thing when your enemies are looking at you and Israel, what's supposed to be two of the most capable militaries on the face of the planet, struggling mightily in their war, which they had the sneak attack and the element of surprise to begin with, and they still can't bring, Iran to their knees. They still can't bring them to the negotiating table. Supposed to be a 2-day operation as far as Mossad and Netanyahu were concerned, but they really talked about 4 to 6 weeks just to give themselves, a little bit of padding, that extra timeline just in case. But that just in case obviously didn't involve the stockpiles or the thought process behind what was going to come in the retaliation from the Iranians as far as their sneak attacks if their plan A didn't work and it wasn't ended in 2 days. And we've been dealing with that bullshit. We've been dealing with the fact that they haven't thought about that, didn't plan for it, don't know how to end it since the fucking first day of this war. And we're seemingly in the same position, right? So we'll continue here with a little bit of this. I know I have some more from Jay in Kyiv as well. Let's see here. We'll go to Jay in Kyiv real quick, see if there's anything that I missed. Here's another one. It says, to understand Russians and they're not only barbaric but stupid ways, understand that they just sent drones 700 kilometers distance to bomb a police station in Zhytomyr. Russians still believe that Ukraine will eventually learn to love them if they just bomb enough hospitals, schools, and police stations. Meanwhile, Russia will soon have no agriculture, gasoline, logistics, exports of any kind. So here's another strike here in Zhytomyr where the Russians targeted a police station.
Ух ты ж! Обалдеть. Ошалеть просто. Пропонуйте как.
I'm going to play one more time from the start there.
Ух ты ж! Обалдеть. Ошалеть просто.
So again, that's apparently another Russian strike in Zhytomyr there. There was a couple other posts from Jay that I wanted to take a look at too. Let me see here. There was some here about the lengthy lines, the fights going on. What was the one that I wanted to talk about? With all major citizens, he talks about here we go. While Russians literally live in shit, the Kremlin sent an $8 million missile to destroy some homes in the residential neighborhood in the Kyiv suburb of Brovary. right? I do believe the first time that I was in Ukraine, we had the opportunity. We did take the time to drive through this neighborhood. I believe we were going to one of the training facilities, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, this is kind of the ridiculousness of this Russian war, like the way in which they just continue to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on these missiles to get nothing in return. To get basically just some propaganda headlines saying that they took down an apartment complex or the number of citizens that they were able to kill. But other than that, it's not bringing Ukraine to their knees, right? It's not affecting things on the front line. I continue to say that these missiles and these munitions would be much more beneficial to them if they were used on the front lines, as opposed to be sent into Lviv and Kyiv and Kherson and Kharkiv. Obviously the last of those is a little closer to the front lines, but Lviv and Kyiv, it would be a lot more beneficial, but they don't see it this way. And not to give them any ideas or anything, but if they use those on the front. But no, what they're doing is they're spending $8 million a pop to hit some random neighborhood in a in a random area out on the outskirts of the city of Kyiv. What do they gain from this? Absolutely fucking nothing. But you can see here the size of the crater, so a pretty substantial munition that hit this area. Clearly, you can see the destruction. I mean, look at the size of the crater there behind this guy. I mean, this is where the impact was, and you can see the damage to the houses that, some are relatively close, but these other ones back here, to see that much damage, is showing you the power and the force of the munition that struck there. I mean, that's a big fucking hole. That is a big fucking hole. But that's one of the ones that I want to show you there. Here's another one. People being slaughtered in Kyiv while the U.S. president is the whore of a Russian dictator. And I say a fucking men to that post. And you can add in the dictator of North Korea as far as I'm concerned, not to add any notes onto that. But, if I was to put that out myself. But again, here's another one, and this is on top of a post from Anton Gerashenko where it says, "Oh God, a grandma in Kyiv waited for rescuers to find her grandson in the rubble after the Russian strike," which is just absolutely fucking heartbreaking. But this is the realities. This is what we're facing, and this is what Donald Trump has no fucks to give about, and continues to actually praise the people that are responsible for these acts right here.
Сюда, дай. Тут стекло не Сідайте. Донечко ми.
Respectful. This is what Donald Trump calls respectful. Kim Jong-un supplying weapons to Russia to do this, right? This is what he calls a great leader in Vladimir Putin, a guy that does this on a nightly basis, right? This is what our commander-in-chief, this is what the president of the United States, these are the people that he supports. These are the people he wants good relationships with, right? These are the people that he's actively throwing fucking wrenches into the gears with our allies to make sure that he benefits. Even secondarily, the impacts and benefits to our enemies as far as the Strait of Hormuz, if in fact the outcome is, Iran gets to control some, Oman gets to control some, and they get to determine if Russia or China pay any tolls or fees, like that's obviously going to be a benefit to our enemy. So even secondarily in the wars that he started in the Middle East, go to impact and benefit the same people that he coddles up to, the same people that he praises on a daily basis, that are responsible for war crimes, that are responsible for directly targeting civilians, that have absolutely no impact, pose absolutely no threat, have no involvement in the war whatsoever, continuing to hit their energy infrastructure, which was one of the targets for Russia last night, as you heard from some of the power outages around the city. But as we continue to go, I know it's summer now, but as we continue to get into the winter months, I can only imagine what hellish situation the citizens of Kyiv will likely face when Russia undoubtedly continues to use their advantage here with ballistic and hypersonic missiles to attack the infrastructure, to attack the power supply, to attack the things necessary for these citizens to live on a daily basis when they're already struggling with drastically cold temperatures. So my heart goes out to every single one of the Ukrainian citizens under the threat right now. It's a horrendous situation. I haven't heard yet, but hopefully that our good friend of the show, Philip Bittner, is okay from the strikes last night and from any of the ongoing strikes. But yeah, it's incredibly embarrassing, frustrating, angering, to see that this is the direct result. We didn't even have to go 24 hours from Donald Trump praising the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, and this is the result of what we're seeing. Let's see here if there was anything else that we need to talk about as far as Jay and KYIV was reporting. He says, while Trump begs Kim Jong-un and Putin for attention, Russia and Iran ready to murder as many Americans as possible. And that's on top of this Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty post talking about the Caspian Sea emerging as potentially importing logistics corridor in the expanding Russia-Iran partnership, marking a possible change in the military relationship between Moscow and Tehran as they look to move goods beyond the reach of the Western naval powers. So again, this puts, as we'll take a look at, Donald Trump's post threatening basically any of the economic trade partners of Iran. That kind of puts Trump in a very awkward position because that involves China, that involves Russia. Like, he just got out of Russia, like he just went to meet Xi Jinping and shook his hand and called him a great leader. Like, is he going to actively go to like economic trade war? Like he's talking about this World War II style economic war with anybody that trades with Iran. Is he ultimately going to put pressure and more sanctions on Russia because their dealings with Iran? Like, it puts him in a really precarious spot based on his full outwardly projected status with a lot of these dictators. Like, it sounds like a lot of tough talk to try to send a message to Iran, but is he really willing to go through with it if Iran doesn't, come to the table and agree to whatever terms that Donald Trump set forth? Let's see here. Going on, says Russians are trying to blow up key EU gas facilities, surely to blame on Ukraine. And I just want to see if there was anything else. I think that was all that. That was that from that one. And then, yeah, let me throw this one on because this is a couple more from the overnight strikes as well. Throw this on your screen real quick. This is from the New York Post, just with some kind of compiled footage from these strikes. It says harrowing moments of the Russian ballistic missile hits Kyiv skyline, killing 8. And again, this is, take that with a grain of salt. This was when it was reported. I'm sure when it was originally put out, the death toll has unfortunately risen since then. But this is just, I don't know. It says warning graphic content. Maybe that's just because it shows the strikes. I don't believe, to the best of my knowledge, it shows anything gory or anything like that. Like I said, it's just a compilation, I believe, of the strikes coming down and hitting the city skyline. So this is just from, again, more from, Donald Trump's inability to put pressure on the same people responsible for these, the active targeting of Ukrainian civilians. I mean, it's crazy how familiar that sound is, like how ingrained that sound is in your head, even from just a short period of time, having the unfortunate opportunity to experience being under Russian missile attack while I was in Kyiv. I just, again, can't even for the life of me comprehend how people can maintain their mental sanity on a daily basis when they don't have the opportunity to leave. Right, was in the fortunate position to be able to eventually hop on a train and come back to the United States. Millions don't have that chance. Millions don't have that opportunity. Can't even have that thought go through their head. So I can't even, and don't want to make it seem like I can relate on by any stretch of the imagination to what they go through mentally, physically, every single night through this. But to the degree that sound, the sound of the strikes, along with the siren in the background, and the difference between, and again, you're not going to hear any interceptions, but I think I was there at the very end of their missile, their interceptor capabilities. So there was a few of them that were intercepted, and you could just tell, even from my short time there, the difference between a missile that was intercepted and didn't ultimately impact the ground or impact a building or anything like that, from ones that did impact the ground. So that sound is obviously something that I will never ever forget. And to see that in the extent of which the Russians are taking advantage of this, and the fact that Ukraine is to a large extent out of the ability, out of stock, out of the interceptors, out of the ability to shoot down these missiles, is absolutely horrendous. So again, at this point, it said the strike left at least 8 people and left the strike killed at least 8, excuse me, and left dozens injured while fires broke out in multiple locations across the city. And like I said, this is just putting together some of the compilation. You can see here the extent, the frequency of the hits as well, Jesus Christ. The fuck was that? I would assume that was one of the strikes on the, the power infrastructure, the power grid, judging by that flash. Jesus Christ. Like the fucking sun. Wow, another explosion. I don't know if that was a secondary explosion from the original strike or a secondary missile hitting that. But you can see there the after effects and the plumes of smoke kind of rising over the city of Kyiv. Tough to look at. Here's another one. This is from Liv Schreiber. He put this on Instagram with in conjunction with United 24, which again, shout out to United 24. Anybody that goes to bostonbrian.com or the Blunt Politics merch shop, you can get that at Shopify as well. And you get anything Ukraine related that the proceeds go and get donated to United 24. I'm also happy to continue to rep and wear the mission. This is not merch. This is a movement. This T-shirt. It represents, a large portion, a large contribution of every T-shirt sold going to help Ukrainian children, a part of the Mr. Dobro, which is the, Ukraine's largest orphanage and helps in many, many other ways with other things as well. But our good friend, Tom Dagger, puts this T-shirt out. His small business down there, a blue dot in Florida, utilizes his abilities, his fucking skills to start this movement, and I'm more than happy to represent that and raise awareness, raise funds in any way I possibly can for this fight. Obviously, Liv Schreiber finds it important as well. He says it says here he's the United 24 ambassador, and this is him touring the Solomansky district after the Russian strike. So let's see what he's got to say. I think he's just kind of giving you a general accounting of what type of area this was and how it's not military based. It's not, military focused in any way.
This is the Solomansky district. That's a school in the background. What it highlights for me is the real and genuine need for missile defense, Patriots, etc., whatever it takes to stop these kinds of munitions and missiles from getting through. You can see there's a lot of destruction here. 15 people died last night, and I think 40-something are injured, and that'll probably grow. I guess that I struggle with the most is the targeting. One of the targets last night was also a pediatric hospital. And as you can see here, on either side of this parking lot is civilian housing. That's a school right there. And I mean, it's so clearly an attack designed to hit civilians. It certainly brings up the question of missile defense and how essential that is. And that's something that that America used to provide. Hopefully we can figure out how to get that program going again. Shelter. Okay, where? This is the Solomansky.
So it looks like even at the end of that, he had to go into a shelter because the air raid siren was going off in the background as well. And this, again, I just want to, drill this into everybody's head, just how fucking absolutely embarrassing and infuriating this is or should be. I'll speak for myself on this one. It literally makes me want to punch my fucking hand, my fist through a wall. Literally 48 hours or 24 hours after this jackass is continuously praising Kim Jong-un in public, we see the usage of North Korean missiles killing at least 15, helping to go on to kill at least 15 Ukrainian civilians. So I just want to drill this home for everybody. This is, again, a post from Jay in Kyiv. He says, only a few hours after the diaper-wearing U.S. president praises Kim Jong-un, North Korean ballistic missiles murder 6 people in Kyiv. Trump is Putin's dog. So again, drilling this home for everybody. This should be angering, frustrating. This should piss you off. This should embarrass the shit out of you. All of those feelings should be felt here when you hear this, and then you put that, side by side with the result of the North Korean missiles taking out our allies, killing our innocent civilians that are allies of this country that we're supposed to be, helping with security. We're supposed to be helping to protect, and we're doing anything fucking but. We're actually helping and praising the people that are killing them.
Didn't like the fact that we're doing these massive military exercises really against North Korea. It was an exercise against North Korea. When I'm friendly with him, I don't see anything happening for certainly 2.5 years. It's not going to happen with me, but I don't see anything happening.
And again, that one sentence totally discounts all the involvement that we know that Kim Jong-un and North Korea have with multiple different nations and enemy states right now that the United States is facing. So that one sentence that he's done nothing. He's been totally respectful and kind and awesome for the 2 years. I don't know where he gets the 2 years. Maybe he's talking about just his just his second term here. Maybe he wasn't so nice when he was calling him Rocket Man in the first term. But it completely discounts and excuses and gives him, a way to, to kind of lend him credibility as far as Kim Jong-un for all of the maniacal acts, everything that he's helped, kill our allies, help our enemies with either weapons, components, whatever it may be, sending them, 50,000 of his own men, his own troops, his own equipment to literally go onto the battlefield and assist our enemy in killing our ally. It's absolutely insane these times right now that we have to live through with this fucking guy behind the helm. It is wild.
And I was not happy when South Korea said, no, they're not interested in helping us with the Hormuz Strait. And yet they get...
And it's all a fucking vanity project. Right there is the answer to all of it. It's, we don't need your help, Donald Trump says. We don't need NATO. We don't need the European allies. We don't need anybody. But I'm going to ask you to help us in this ridiculously disastrous war that we've been going through, which we've got nothing but negative headlines, negative press this entire fucking time. We've expended and utilized and fucking wasted 18 young servicemen and women at the behest of Donald Trump because he's utilizing, again, the U.S. military like his own personal Gestapo force to project his tiny dick energy around the fucking globe. But, he wants all these countries to get involved. We don't need them. Again, we don't need them. We can do this all by ourselves. We can't, obviously, considering how long this has been going on. But we're going to ask you and demand that you, throw in some troops, throw in some ships, throw in some bombs, or start lobbing some missiles somewhere. Otherwise, we're going to punish you. We don't care what the ramifications are downstream as far as, global structure is concerned. But we're going to punish you because I'm butthurt that you won't assist me in this fight because I look like an asshole sitting here by myself with Benjamin Netanyahu. That's quite literally what it is. He's his own vanity project and his own personal relationship with these dictators is how he goes about what he says in public. And it's treasonous. There's no other way to put it. It is fucking treasonous behavior.
60% of the oil from the Hormuz Strait. I said, would you like to help us? He said, no, thank you. I said, that's nice, please, thank you. He made us a lot of money. I didn't like that. So I felt that we were doing a massive war exercise. I thought that was very insulting to somebody that, frankly, has been, during my term at least, very well behaved.
Very well behaved. And he's again talking there about the dictator of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, who has actively sent men boots on the fucking ground to Russia so that they could throw those boots on the fucking ground to Ukraine so that they could kill Ukrainian military, so they could kill civilians if they ever ran across them. Didn't go so well, right? And let's just be frank, it didn't go so well for the North Korean soldiers, but they sent them. They were fucking there. It's a thing, and they continue to help and assist in different ways in that area. And this is what he's talking about as being respectful. This is what he's talking about as being well-behaved. Like, do you know how fucking insane that is? Like, that's like saying Itamar Ben-Gvir, calling for the, assassination of 40 fucking Palestinians a day, even if they don't pose a threat. That's like calling him sane. That's like calling him stable and well-behaved, right? It's literally along those same lines. It's fucking absolutely insanity.
Like the fact that we're doing these massive military exercises, really.
So again, that was that one. There was more where he kind of praised him even further. And again, the talks that they've been having, right, or the talks that Donald Trump says he's been having with Kim Jong-un, already been disputed by Kim's sister already. And she's I think she's literally got Kim's balls in her hands. Like, I think she really runs the show, if you really want to know. Like, that's who Kim Jong-un really is afraid of and respects the shit out of, is his sister here. But she's already come out and said, I don't know what fucking Trump's talking about, paraphrasing, of course. But she's like, these guy's a lunatic, not sure what he's talking about. We've had no fucking discussions whatsoever along the lines of what he's talking about. Here's the other one where he burst out and snapped at the CNN reporter for her absolute legitimate question that she asked. And then Stephen Chung, I believe, who, handles the White House response account on Twitter, literally dragged her children into the fight in a post on X. Went on to say that, like, her children should be ashamed, yada, 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 for the question. Like, a legitimate fucking question here based upon the statements from Donald Trump. But this is another way in which he went on to praise the North Korean dictator in the last, 48 hours ago, somewhere about.
Over our longtime partners by scaling back the military exercises.
No, I'm making it much safer. You see, I'm actually making it much safer. Kim Jong-un has always treated me with great respect. And
Me. No different than any other point in time in Donald Trump's life, is it always, and nothing else but about him. That's it. Me. He's treated me, which is, again, this whole fucking market manipulation that these dictators have done on Donald Trump in the time that he's been in office, where they just smooze him, fucking butter him up, lather him up. You know what I mean? Call him the best. Say the United States is the greatest. Say he's the best fucking negotiator. Whatever you got to do. Meanwhile, like I said, you continue to go back to your home country and figure out ways you can kick the United States in the dick. And Donald Trump's not going to know any better because he's the dumbest son of a bitch who's ever fucking held the office, the title of President of the United States of America.
We met on numerous occasions, actually, 2 primary occasions, spoken and spent time. I understand him. He understands me. You're doing war games. I get along with him. He didn't like Biden. He didn't like Obama. He didn't like anybody. But I get along with him very well. No, what I'm doing is making things safer.
Did he ask?
Making things safer. I wonder how the Ukrainian civilians feel about that. Right? I wonder how they feel about him making things safer by praising Kim Jong-un, the North Korean dictator. Again, as he's he's allied with and actively helping and assisting with literal munitions going into Ukraine to kill their population. I wonder how they feel about that. Just, again, an alternate fucking universe. And totally an alternate reality that this guy is living in, and it's his own personal fucking bubble, and anything that exists or happens outside of that, it's irrelevant. It doesn't exist. It never happened. Don't look that way. Focus on me, whatever has my name on it, my relationships, me. And it's fucking sickening. It is absolutely fucking sickening after this long of dealing with this fucking senile, dementia-riddled piece of shit. And we still have the media to a large extent. And again, kudos to this CNN reporter for, pushing his buttons and continuing to ask the questions. But these moments are fucking few and far between. And I know the White House has gone to great lengths to make sure that they have the people in the room that won't do that. And kind of understand the consequences and repercussions added on to Donald Trump's fucking CEO billionaire buddies that own a lot of these fucking networks telling their workers, telling the people that work for their network not to fucking shake it up, not to kick up any dust in these meetings and not to press Donald Trump and make him look like an idiot. Like, they're just hoping again to get out of this administration, to get through this with either making as much money as possible or just, suffering the least amount of harm if you're BBC or 60 Minutes or something like that in any one of the media networks that Donald Trump's gone after or had lawsuits against. Like, that's his intent.
Just scale back on those.
Quiet. You're very disrespectful in front of this young man. Okay?
Right. So that's the moment in time where after roughly 2 minutes of praising his relationship with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, he snaps at the CNN reporter, just all but leaving out the piggy part, right? I mean, he was quite literally, the tongue was out of his mouth with the piggy, but somehow he managed to stop it. And then that's not all. That's not all, because just yesterday when we showed you this moment where this fucking senile old fuck was wandering outside the White House talking about the fucking helipad that he has no clue how it was constructed and went to fuck up the construction timeline because he doesn't like the way it was pitched. And I'm sure there's a ton of people that hate him for that shit. But yeah, this is another moment in which he praised the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. This is, again, just yesterday, and we're seeing already the harm done, the results of, and how ridiculous these statements are coming from Donald Trump.
Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
Are you exchanging written letters with Kim Jong-un?
Are you exchanging written letters with Kim Jong-un, just in case the question is difficult to hear?
I can't tell you that.
And are you hoping
But I get along with him. And you know what? The fact that I get along with him, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. He has 57 very powerful nuclear weapons. Should have never...
57 very powerful nuclear weapons. I don't know if Kim Jong-un sent that over directly in a letter. I don't know if he just revealed CIA intelligence that they have on North Korea. Can never be sure. You know what I mean? Him in classified material aren't fucking, that's like oil and water, basically, from past experiences. If you know, you know.
Allowed it to happen. They should have never allowed it. If I were president, I wouldn't have allowed it. But he's got them. I get along with him very well. I can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And I know Kim Jong-un very well, and he's going to be fine. As long as we have a... Thank you, everybody.
He's going to be fine. He's always going to be fine as long as he's in the pocket of the president of the United States. It's the people that he's actively helping kill that aren't going to be fine. It's our allies, again, the country that was made to give up its nuclear stockpile, its nuclear arsenal, signing over with the promise that the United States, as well as other countries, would come to their defense, would come for security purposes, if in fact this exact fucking situation that we saw kick off, some would say in 2014 or even before, but definitely in 2022 with the full-scale invasion, like if that ever fucking happened, we were supposed to do big things to help with their security. And, again, Donald Trump has done anything but and literally actively reversed our help, whether it be military or just, aid help in general. But yeah, that's that one. Let me see here. I think I had another one that I wanted to go. Oh yeah, this is from, I want to go the opposite side now. So before we dive into a little bit more of the Natalie Hobb coverage, which is hilarious, stick around for that, please. Hit that like button if you could. My name is Boston Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. If you're just joining us for the first time, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hear a little bit about the news, listen to me rant and rave a little bit, get my get my frustrations out. Thank you again, once again. Shout out and salute to the mods in the chat in general for making the show a possibility. Venmo up in the corner once again. Let's get some self-promotional bullshit out of the way if we can mid-show. The Venmo is up in the corner. If you guys want to send in a buck or two, if you've been watching for a little bit and you like what you're seeing, you like what you're hearing, you find a couple quarters in the couch cushions you don't know what to do with, a Venmo's right there in the corner. If you could take a picture of that, takes you right to the Venmo. Send that right over. If you think we're deserving of more than a buck or two, not going to stand in your way. But again, we try to, not put everybody in the poorhouse with their support of independent channels. And a buck or two should suffice, if the entire chat gets involved. So just to spread, the burden amongst the entire chat. Let's see if we could, get some help and assistance in there. Again, we don't charge for any content. Nothing's hidden behind a paywall. No subscriber-only chats. We don't charge for Substack. There are no corporate funds sitting there in the background. No dark money resources and agencies that are helping this show grow. It's all with your generosity, all with literally the viewer support, which I am very proud of as slowly as the channel is growing. And I am, right here to recognize it. I'm not going to, try to overstep my boundaries as far as what we've been able to do. But I'm very, very proud of the community that we've, that we've grown here and the things that we've done with this channel. And I hope to just continue, even at the slow pace that we are, as long as we're continuing to grow. That's a good thing to me. So hopefully one of these days we'll hit that fast track, as it were. I don't know how you get on that fast track, but we're fucking trying. I think it's basically showing YouTube ads is how you get on the fast track, but that's what I don't want to do. That's what I don't want to do. All right, so going back in the other direction, because I don't want to make it seem like it was a one-sided affair last night. So we got our frustrations out with the, the deadly situation that Ukraine is facing right now, as far, again, as the advantage Russia is seeing right now with ballistic and hypersonic missiles, and the empty tank as far as interceptors on the other side. Clearly, you can see what destruction can be had, what continues to be had there on an almost a nightly basis with these, and it's a big fucking problem. It's a big issue, and will continue to be a big issue as Russia tries to exploit it even more and does whatever they can to try to ramp up the production process of these missiles, or again get any missiles they possibly can from North Korea to kind of pad their stockpile. But Ukraine was striking back in the other direction. It was not a one-sided affair. Ukraine hit some, I believe they hit Ufa, if I'm not mistaken, once again. And obviously, as you can see in the screen behind his head, which kind of depicts the different movements of the missiles and the drones, you can see it was a very active night for both sides. So let's see if we can dive into a little bit of this Professor Garrett's video. And this is the titled, "We Saw the Entire War in Microcosm Last Night." Let's see what he's got to say. I think the first couple segments are about the Ukrainian strikes, and then I know he does detail a little bit of the, the devastation and destruction and death that have come from the Russian strikes overnight. So let's see what we can get into.
It's Thursday, August
Slava Ukraina, Heroyam Slava. Let me start off with that.
20th, 2026. I think last night was a story of the entire war in a microcosm, because while Ukraine was
just real quick before we get into it, thank you so much to Slacks. Fucking Slacks, you fucking hummer you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the $10 contribution. Heroyam Slava right back at you. He says, "You are worth millions of dollars for your great service to the community and country, along with your brave support of Ukraine." Well, that is extremely generous and nice of you. I absolutely will not accept that level of generosity. I will not accept that level of praise placed upon me, bestowed upon me by you, sir, because you in the chat, you find people, fabulous people that are watching these shows, that make these shows a possibility, are the true warriors, right? You guys that donated to the different campaigns, to the different fundraisers, you guys that have these t-shirts, you guys that go to the Blunt Politics merch shop on Shopify, which you can get to at bostonbrian.com, and pick out a Ukrainian themed merch piece. So that proceeds, those proceeds can go to United 24 to help in that little way that we try to do. Like, the different things are you guys are responsible for that, right? I am just the catalyst. I am just the highway that gets you guys from the chat to these different fundraisers so that you guys can express and support the things that you guys are passionate about. So Slacks, I love you. Always have, always will. Thank you for your support. Love to have you in the chat. But again, it is my appreciation and gratitude for you guys in the chat. Not just here, the people that are here, 200 people or so that are watching right now, but anybody that comes from different chats, you guys in the chat that support other communities and other channels as well. You guys are the fucking heroes. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Slacks, Colleen, Tina. Much, much appreciated for your contributions. Obviously, stick around to the end of the show. That way we obviously go through the Venmos, which is just up in the corner, the super chats, super stickers, milestones, all of that at the end of the show, every single show. So you guys get your opportunity to get your thanks from me. But all right, let's dive into a little bit more of this Professor Gerda's video explaining some of the retaliations and strikes from Ukraine overnight as well.
Oil refineries and trying to target military facilities, as they always do. Russia is hitting civilians with ballistic missiles. I mean, it's now they're saying they're hitting other military targets. They might be hitting a few, but
that's another. I mean, I think that's another distinction we need to make, right? Or not distinction, but another thing we need to highlight. We continue to talk about how it's now ballistics and hypersonics, but like the disparity in damage and destruction seen between, say, a Shahed strike in an apartment building and a fucking ballistic and a hypersonic missile strike in an apartment building is apples and oranges. Okay. So again, they are not only targeting, like they continue to do with drones as well, but now to add on this heavy helping of ballistics and hypersonics still aimed at fucking civilians is terrifying. Right? It is terrifying. It's so terrifying that you basically just, you resign to your fate. Well, at least that's kind of, I'll speak for myself, obviously, but that's the feeling that I had in when I was in Kyiv and under nightly missile attack. It's just, what can you do? I've seen people that were, unfortunately caught in the strike as they were trying to get to the shelter across the street, or, they were trying to get to the shelter in the basement and the missile hit the bottom of the building. And that's when they got caught. Like, you just don't know. And with ballistics and hypersonics, to not have that audible warning like you would with a Shahed, what you would with any of the the jet powered drones and the drones with motors that you can hear coming, or if they're going away from you, it's obviously a distinct sound getting quieter, or if the opposite, if it's coming closer, it's obviously distinctly getting louder. Like that's that audible warning in which you can tell. And then at the end of that, the payload, clearly much less payload on a Shahed or any of those types of drones than anything you'll see on a ballistic or a hypersonic missile. So again, apples to oranges, and it's not the same old that we've been talking about as far as Russia striking Kyiv or any of these other cities. It is now literally targeted attacks with the worst of the worst weapons that we can see right now, aimed at big apartment blocks. Like, that's what you see in Kyiv. It's not, just a random solo apartment building, which, you do absolutely have. But, a lot of the times it's just a mass of people. It is a bunch of highly packed, densely populated, communities, areas, neighborhoods with high rises, with large Soviet style structured, communal living that you guys have I'm sure famously seen in photographs and movies and stuff like that. But all right, let's dive back into this. My apologies again. In case you just joined us, we're talking about the opposite side of the terrible night that Ukraine had. This is again the damage they were able to inflict on Russia at the same time as they were dealing with the huge Russian missile attack.
You the damage here, and you decide for yourself what you think is going on. So let's start here. Let's start with overnight strikes going out from Ukraine into Russia. 350 drones reported. Get that 350 number in your head, because it's going to be challenged by TASS. 350, including jet-powered drones. Now, you would think you want to pay attention to what's going up here around Moscow. That's not what we really want to focus on. I don't have a lot of information about.
So again, just to explain, in case anybody's new to the channel, isn't familiar with the professor, or familiar with the maps that show the the different routes and paths of the different drones and missiles that are launched from each side. That's what we're looking at now, is basically the paths of the drones that were launched by Ukraine into Russia. So you can see a lot of them heading towards Moscow, which he's got a big X on at the top of the screen. A lot of them going towards Voronezh, Lipetsk, Tambov. You can see there was one in Ufa, which I believe is going to be somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, it's pretty good distance away. I think it's somewhere in that area. I could be vastly wrong. My apologies. But that's what we're looking at, in case you're just joining us, is the different strikes and the paths of the drones. Obviously, a lot down south, as you can see here, towards Crimea, towards the Sea of Azov, the Black Sea, down here towards the supply routes that are going into Crimea as well, clearly towards the front. So, you can see it was a very a very busy night on the Ukrainian side as well. So we're trying to give you both sides of the story, not just one-sided aspects of reporting like most of these propagandists and gaslighters do. We try to keep both feet on the ground, 10 toes, touching grass at all fucking times here on the Blunt Politics podcast. So again, if you like that sort of stuff, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It's very difficult to make it in this industry doing it the way that we do it. So it's literally left upon you guys to try to fill that gap, to try to boost us in the algorithm. I hate asking you. I hate kind of doing the self-promotional bullshit, but unfortunately, that's the path I chose, and that's what we got to do here as far as this is concerned. So if we're going to do it the independent route, which I drastically hope to continue to do it. I hope never to have to talk to an advertiser or a sponsor or anything like that. But if it comes to doing these reports from the fucking corner of the road, who knows? So, I do appreciate you guys that have been around for so long, sticking around, that continue to donate on the Venmo, continue to donate on the super chats. I really hope one day to take the burden and the stress off of the chat that has been here for so long, so we can have a nice big community. And, whoever's feeling problems, whoever's having financial issues, that's fine. Other people are going to be there to kind of fill in the gaps to make sure that the lights stay on, microphone stays working, computers stay running. Maybe I could put some food in my stomach every now and again, would be fantastic. But we're going to slog it out here. We're not going anywhere. And thank you guys so much to everybody that keeps this running. But just to explain what we're looking at here.
That I want to focus on what's going out this way. And I want to focus on what's going out down here toward the lower southeast area in like Krasnodar and Taman and so forth. Okay. Now, again, I said there was 350 drones going out, and TASS is reporting 726 UAVs down in the aftermath of the attacks. They're not talking.
And again, you'd think it'd be crazy numbers for them to say that, but we saw the other day that it was near some 1,000 or so drones of all different sorts that Ukraine reportedly was able to put out against Russia. We kind of combined, I think it was some 400 in one direction, some 200 or so ish in another direction, or in multiple directions otherwise. But I kind of had a hard time believing it myself. But apparently, the discrepancies are growing and continues to grow as far as the ratio of drones sent from the Ukrainian side to Russia, from compared to the Russian side into Ukraine. But again, that is kind of not taking into account the damage done by the hypersonics and the ballistic missiles that obviously make up a heavy portion of the damage being done in these cities right now.
About little FPVs either. They're talking about that. Like, if you go into the article itself, what you'll find here is air defense forces intercepted and destroyed 726 Ukrainian drones over Russian regions, Black Sea and Sea of Azov overnight.
So obviously, Russia would have the propaganda usage, would have the reason, would have the motive to try to lie about the amount of drones that they're able to shoot down. But again, they have to be kind of careful with that, because all it does is show that the Ukrainians increasingly have the ability to send in more drones. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with the Russian propaganda, with the Russian news agencies, on kind of what they say is shot down and how many Ukraine were able to shoot in. Because it's not a good look if increasingly you're going from, okay, we shot down 250. The next week you're shooting down 450. The next week you're shooting down 550. Like, that shows the other side has the ability to continue to put up into the air, vastly more, superior numbers as far as drones are concerned. So it's kind of, like I said, that double-edged sword that they have to be worried about.
So that means like their equivalent of Shaheds, the Ukrainian.
Let me see here. He goes into
he
goes into a couple things that were struck as well. Let me just see here where he goes into the things that were actually hit.
Between 8 p.m. Moscow time, 5 p.m. GMT on August 19th, and 8 a.m. Moscow time. So they're talking about definitely overnight 726 as opposed to the actual 350 that's going out. Why would they double it? Like, I don't understand why they would.
But again, he has to take into account, and not to step in to do any corrections or anything, but even by this post, it says according to Russian sources. So again, this is take it with a grain of salt territory if I've ever seen it. This is the fog of war territory. If one Russian source says one thing, another Russian source says another, it's really not that newsworthy. It shouldn't really raise that many alarm bells where, they're not living in the same reality and they're both, doing different things at the same time. But, I think obviously there's some, some nuance in this and why they could be reporting the numbers. So I'll let them continue. Obviously.
Doubled that in the reporting. So now here are the deep strike drones going out enemy oil refinery.
All right, so here's what I want to get into. So this is obviously Ukrainian strikes into Russia. It says enemy oil refinery and oil terminal hit. It says in particular the Tanico oil refinery at the Nizhnekamsk Republic of Tatarstan RF was hit, where an impact was recorded with a subsequent fire on the enterprise's territory. There was another one, I believe here. Yep, defense forces struck the Tanico oil refinery in Nizhnekamsk. Its refining capacity is about 18 million tons of crude oil per year. In Kuban, the Taman Gas Neft oil terminal, the second one, or number 2, and the 500 kV Taman substation 3 were attacked. Reports indicate large-scale power outages in temporarily occupied Crimea as well. So those are talking about the 4 different targets on that particular post. So the Nizhnekamsk oil refinery, the Kuban oil terminal, the Taman substation, and the power outages in Crimea, as it says here. So let's see what else you got.
Terminal and Taman.
Sorry.
The targets they're going after. Here's Kuban. Kuban's going to factor in as well, and Kuban area and Taman as places being hit. Ukrainian middle strike drones cutting Russian logistics routes in occupied Crimea, and so we see this again and again. But these routes going into Crimea, it's just a really bad idea to be going and driving there. On the night of August 20th, Krasnodar Krai, one of Russia's key export terminals.
Again, more from the unmanned systems forces here. Deep strike on Russian oil infrastructure. In the night of August 20, operators of the 1st USC Army, together with other components of the defense forces of Ukraine, hit 2 important Russian oil infrastructure facilities at once. In the Krasnodar Krai, the Tami Neftgas, one of Russia's key exports terminals for the transshipment of oil, petroleum products, and liquefied hydrocarbon gases. In Nizhnekamsk, as we've talked about, the Tanico oil refinery, which does 16 million tons of oil per year, says this work delivers a concrete result, fewer fuel resources, and goes on to say something at the bottom that is inevitably cut off. It says fuel resources and capabilities for the Russian war machine. Let's see here if he's got anything else. Yep, Ukrainian attack drone struck the Taman substation in Russia's Krasnodar Krai this morning, a key node connecting the Russian power grid to occupied Crimea. So as we talk about, power outages in different portions of the city of Kyiv due to the Russian attacks, and you see the propagandists and idiots on Twitter, trying to take advantage of that. You can tell the same thing is happening to different Russians in different areas. This obviously being occupied Crimea, where they're also seeing that the power was lost due to a Ukrainian strike on this power grid here, the substation. So let's see if there was one more. He's showing you where it is.
Okay,
here.
so we're this is what Ukraine's doing to Russia day over day. Now, what's Russia doing to Ukraine?
So let me see. I think there was one other one as well. Before we dive into Natalie Harp, pause. Sorry, my apologies. Didn't mean to phrase it like that. But before we start covering a little bit more of the incessant, ridiculous, nasty, disgusting, strange, wild, weird relationship between Natalie Harp and the President of the United States, let me see if I can just type this in, because I believe UFA, if I'm not mistaken, unless I heard that wrong, refinery, I believe that was also a target of the Ukrainian strikes overnight. So let me see here. Yeah, let's see. This is OSINT Technical. Throw this on your screen. Ukrainian attack drone swarmed Russia's Nizhnekamsk oil refinery this morning. So that's from the one that was already reported. Let me throw this on your screen. See there, the drone going in. Strike right here. Clearly signs of strikes before that drone even arrived. And then this is Jay and Kyiv from yesterday. Among Ukraine's overnight strikes was an oil refinery in Russia's city of Ufa. I knew I heard that. That had been undergoing repairs of a previous Ukrainian strike. The costly repairs, it says, part of Ukraine's refinery campaign is allowing Russia to nearly complete costly repairs before striking again. So kind of doubling the effect, you know what I mean? So as opposed to, and again, I think there's an argument to be made where just destroying the fucking facility outright is probably the way to go. But, if you're trying to limit your expenditures as far as drone usage, because obviously it takes a substantial amount of drones, depending on which ones you use and the bigger payload, whatever it is, to take down the facility. Obviously, the size of the facility, the type of facility also has a part to play in how many you're going to use. But like it says here, they're trying to kind of, double tap. It's almost like a financial double tap. that they're utilizing right here, Ukraine. So allowing the Russians to spend the money to rebuild the factories, rebuild the facilities. Then they go in and they strike again. Then they go in and they cause even more damage, repeat in the process, rinse and repeat. But it says here, the UFA refinery, which again isn't the first time, the refinery has a capacity of 8.2 million tons per year, or 164,000 barrels a day, just to talk about and show you the output here. The governor of the region claims attack were repelled, though, but you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, this is footage coming out from that attack here. You can clearly see that's I'm going to say not normal for that facility, probably a good indication that there's a problem happening. But if you were to listen to the governor of the region, he says, we repelled another terrorist attack on the industrial enterprises in Ufa. There were 6 drones in total. 4 of them were shot down. 1 fell in the industrial zone, causing a small, I'm assuming it says, hold on, let me click on it. I think it says fire. Causing a small fire. There is a fire. We are putting it out now. Another UAV struck the residential building in the Zaton neighborhood. Windows on the upper floors were damaged and debris and fragments fell on parked cars. According to the preliminary reports, 1 person was injured. He was hospitalized and is currently receiving all necessary medical care. We'll go back one more time where it looks pretty clearly like that facility. I mean, that fire's right there. You can see it right where my mouse is, if you can see my mouse. So it's not like that's, well behind the facility in some like fucking far-strung neighborhood whatsoever. But that was the UFA strike as well that I wanted to show you. So again, it was a very active night, we'll just say, between Russia and Ukraine. I continue to be devastated by, angered by, embarrassed by the situation that, the Ukrainian civilians, in particular, the Kyiv civilians are under right now, are in right now. It's a horrible place to be in. There's no direct answer. There's no direct like, hey, this is the this is the resolution. This is the kind of solution to that problem that you were looking to solve. There's just kind of different little ideas, bits and bytes and dribs and drabs and things that you hope to slow down a little bit of the Russians' ability to send in these ballistics and hypersonic missiles. So again, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll make sure to keep you guys up to date and, up to speed on what's happening on both sides of this fight, whether that's Ukraine, striking into Russia, or occupied Ukraine, whether that's Russia striking into Ukraine, whether that's, what's going on the front lines. So if you guys are interested, anybody out there is interested in keeping up and hearing about what's going on with the war between Russia and Ukraine, then please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. You found your home here. And again, just utilize this in conjunction with all of the other channels that you use to get your news, your updates. Again, I'm not the the end all be all of by any stretch of the imagination. And I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but if you do enjoy the chat, if you enjoy my banter, maybe the accent gets you, I'm not sure. Whatever it is, you guys let me know. Maybe it's, hopefully at some point the insights and opinions that I give, that would be fantastic. But, whatever it is that draws you guys in, whatever it is that keeps you guys here, I just want to say thank you. Much appreciated. If you could help me get through the algorithm gods, the algorithm monsters, and hit all of the buttons, free buttons that do indeed go to help boost this channel up in the algorithm, that is fantastic. So thank you again to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Substack, and Kick. Anybody watching on any of those platforms, I really do appreciate the shit out of you. All right, so before we go, and again, I got to find a different way to word this. Before we get into a little bit of Natalie Hobb, probably not the best way, I should have reworded that again. I just want to give my 2 cents on this whole situation, and I'll be brief. Obviously, it's kind of, not my, I don't have a horse in the race, so to speak, but obviously covering this and being, as supportive of this mission and the military as I am, I had to kind of give my opinion, give my 2 cents, as I said, on this. And I think he's Fedorov we're talking about here, in case you haven't heard. Fedorov, who was the defense minister who was let go by Zelensky, who had the feud with Sersky. That was before Sersky was ultimately let go as well. He's now come out and pretty much demanded that Ukraine hold elections. And I think that, Yoni here, who I had the opportunity, he was on the last NAFO convoy, the tweet that you're looking at here, basically put it correctly. I don't know if I pulled up the correct tweet that he have, but Yeah, he said here, right in the one that he's quote tweeting, he says, the fact that Fedorov wouldn't be demanding elections if he had been reinstated as defense minister proves this isn't about democracy. He seems to be pushing for wartime elections purely to serve his own career, not the country. And again, I had and continue to a large degree, have a lot of admiration for Fedorov. I had the opportunity to be part of the protests, some of the protests that were going on in Ukraine while I was there in Kyiv, because of the dissenting opinions that the citizens had about the treatment, the handling of the military and the hierarchy, the leadership. So, he gained a lot of popularity with that. And even I said and was saying at the time that, this is probably going to have the opposite effect that I think Zelensky wants it to have. I think this is only going to boost Fedorov's popularity and kind of, give him his own kind of subset of followers. And now I think he's trying to, kind of go a step further and kind of way overstepping and pushing for things, obviously, that the constitution of the country that he's in doesn't allow. You know what I mean? They're under martial law. They're at war. Their territories are occupied. People in that portion of the country cannot vote if they hold elections. Like, it has already been passed by their constitution, passed by their, Congress, so to speak, that this is set in stone. So for him to kind of be throwing, the wrench in the gears, to be demanding these elections at a time where, as Yoni said, he wouldn't be doing so if he was still defense minister. This whole thing, and even his own supporters, right? Even his own supporters and people that are out there protesting in favor of him don't like this. Don't like this approach. Don't like this angle. Don't like that he's doing this. Don't like that he's kind of, creating these waves that he's creating. I think there was a way for him to be helpful, beneficial, be part of the Ukrainian military and the leadership and the way that the war is going in some way, shape, or form. But it's not this. It's definitely not this. And he also goes on to say, Yoni says he crossed a line that didn't need to be crossed now by talking about elections. And like I said, this goes on. There's a few other ones. Jake Bro was posting about this. He says, reactions to Fedorov calling for elections during wartime have not been positive. Even Fedorov's own supporters are shocked and disappointed he would do this. And like I said, I think this really throws a wrench into, the gears or the hopes that I had. I think I expressed this on the show before. The fact that we could have Drapati in there at the same time as Fedorov would be, very substantial, would be very beneficial in the war against Russia. I mean, their knowledge, obviously they're younger. I think Fedorov's in like 35 or so. Drapati's youngest young in his own right. So for them to be of that age, know about the technology, understand the drone aspect, like to have them working together and putting their minds together, I think would have been, somewhat of a dream team. But I think this throws a big, big fucking wrench in whether or not that's ever going to be possible. But let's just see here, this quick clip here from Jake, where he's reading some of the reaction from the Fedorov supporters, as he states here.
This is Christopher Miller, a reporter with the Financial Times. Reactions I'm hearing from Ukrainian officials, members of parliament, civil society are all relatively similar. Shock, dismay at Fedorov's extraordinary criticism of the state, political challenge to Zelensky, and controversial call for elections while Russian bombs still fall. Here's a quote. He is in a hurry because people might forget him in a year, says one prominent political person in Kyiv who has been very supportive of Fedorov.
So basically saying that he's trying to utilize this newfound popularity, this newfound movement that he's had, the support that he's seen in the streets with the community, with the citizens. He's trying to now, and again, I think that's, if I'm reading this, from the outside looking in, that it's kind of gotten to his head. You know what I mean? And he's kind of gotten a little bit big for his britches, for lack of a better term, lack of a better phrase. Excuse me. It's when you're, saying the things, and it's not just the calls for the elections that obviously, like I talked about, the Constitution says can't happen. But when you're saying the hurtful and kind of the, I don't want to say like things against your own government that he was coming out with. And I'm not to say that there aren't issues, obviously, not to say that there aren't problems, but the way in which it was handled, I think is what's, I think they're using the word shocked is what they used, is kind of what's shocking his own supporters. So, it's another thing to deal with in the background. We'll see what kind of comes from this. We'll see what happens as far as, Fedorov's support, if it wanes, if it grows. The response, I haven't seen a direct response from Zelensky or anybody in the Ukrainian government to this just yet. But like I said, I just wanted to kind of throw my 2 cents in on that one. It's just, something that is an inappropriate distraction, we'll call it, right? It just, there's ways in which that he could have been very helpful if he wanted to work with Zelensky. If it wasn't going to be the minister of defense, I'm sure there was some position, where they could utilize Fedorov's knowledge and skill set. And this, I think, has kind of wiped the slate clean on that one. I don't think that's going to be a possibility moving forward. But just to get my my opinion out there. All right, let's dive into Natalie Hopp. Sorry. No, we'll get into a little bit more of the coverage and clips that are coming out. Since. And, Natalie Hopp's been known, right? But since John Ossoff, vaguely briefly mentioned her in one of his recent appearances, recent speeches, like the right wing, the Republicans and these maggots are in like fucking hyper gear trying to defend her. And on the flip side, people are now digging through her old OAN clips. She used to be an OAN broadcaster, which again shouldn't be surprising to anybody if you know anything about OAN. So she's made her way up the ranks on her knees to be side by side now with Donald Trump in the catering vehicle. That's her highlight right there, to be locked in the catering truck with Donald Trump because they were fearful for their lives because the war has gone so drastically wrong. But yeah, this is posted by Canada Hates Trump. And it says, Natalie Hopp is a raving fucking lunatic. She's America's Eva Braun to America's Hitler. And this was something that I have said before, where she is the fucking spitting image of what Eva Braun would be today if you had just flip-flopped, if we had just kind of swapped out Donald Trump, thrown in Adolf Hitler, and just kind of letting Natalie Hopp loose. Like, that is the spitting image. A young, seemingly kind of like caught up in the cult, personality, large, kind of like, I don't know, gets into the inner circle very easily, then sticks around. You get the stage 5 clinger aspect, like moves into the fucking White House, never leaves the guy's side, running behind golf carts. Like, where are the other golf carts? Diving into the back in the trunks of vehicles with all the dog slobber and hair because she didn't have a place to sit next to the fucking Great Fuhrer. But these are this is like a compilation, a little, they put together a couple of clips here of her OAN appearances. And again, it's very easy to see the comparisons here and to kind of sit here and imagine what it would be like to be around Eva Braun back in the 40s, back in the 30s even, and her, infatuation with the movement, her infatuation with the leader that couldn't give a fuck less about her, really, if it came down to it. But check this out. Listen to this robotic Stepford wives just in the cult, couldn't see anything other than the cult, trying to, build up Donald Trump as this great Jesus-like healer and, making it like an evangelical type of commentary almost. But here's a couple clips from Natalie Hopp. And then after that, we'll go into Jen and Pumps. I think have a couple comments, a couple reactions to, I believe, this exact compilation. So we'll go into that next. Much appreciated to you guys. Hit that like button. My name again is Boston Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast, where we call out bullshit, where we call out the gaslighting, where we call out the propaganda. We try to set the story straight. We try to keep everybody grounded, 10 toes down in the grass. Speaking of grass, smoke them if you got it. Glad to have you here with your adult beverage in hand, joining in some adult talk here about politics that's going on in this world. We're now talking about Natalie Hopp and her just, again, robotic sense of cult-like mentality and how she's been laser focused for years now with just getting as close to the leader of the movement, getting close to the dear Fuhrer as possible. So check this little compilation out here.
We can't talk about winning back the House and Senate in 2020.
So you can see here, this is from 6/21/21. So this is from 2021, in case anybody's wondering.
22 and the White House in 2024 if we don't act on the fact that we actually did win the White House and the Senate in 2020.
So election, right off the bat with the election denialism, right? Right off the bat. We can't go anywhere. We can't go forward And this is, again, appeasing Donald Trump. This is what I'm sure was part of what caught not only Donald Trump's eye, but I'm sure it was first going through some of the underlings, some of the assistants, some of the other degenerates, that watch these programs, that seek out these women to try to bring them into the inner circle to feed to Donald Trump like it's his fucking own personal, a harem, like he's got his own harem there. But yeah, this is, I think it's, she's, cult. That's it already, 2021, and she was locked in here.
We shouldn't be afraid to say that because it's true. We the people know America as we know it could be ending in the next 2 or 4 years, which is
right. So again, just some of the most blatant right-wing propaganda. We've already started hearing this from people like Sean Hannity with the communist, Marxist, socialist, DSA. It's going to be Red Scare. Oh my God, Stalin's back, and oh Jesus, like the world's going to end. The country's not, as you know it, it's going to be over if you don't get out of your seats and vote in midterm. So again, this is 2021, same bullshit, different time, different mouth that it's being spewed out of, but same Republican propaganda nonsense.
Exactly what President Trump is warning of. They think if they can get President Trump, they can get the 75 million people to shut up and stand.
Who's this fucking jackass? Is this Corey Mills? What's this? Is this who's somebody in the chat? Let me know, because I saw this earlier and I can't put a name to this prick. Is it Corey something? Am I way off on that one? I know somebody in the chat. There's always people smarter in the chat than I am, so I'll let the chat catch up. We're having trouble streaming to Facebook. This may be an issue. For crying out loud, Facebook. Why would you do that? All right, give me a second to try to fix this in the background now. Let me remove it. I'm going to go back into it, put it back up. Hopefully that works. Did that not let me do it? Save changes. That's Lewandowski. Right. My bad. I knew it was some schmuck that I should have known, but I don't allow these morons to occupy the space in my brain. It's just, I got so much other shit that I got to worry about and deal with that I don't need these jackasses. A lot of them I do, but this motherfucker, he ain't taking up any space in my brain. But thank you guys. I appreciate you. Like I said, I know there's always smarter people in the chat, so shout out to you. Kyle, thank you. Orb Vroomer, thank you. Anybody else there that was setting the record straight there? Forever Young, I see you. Becky, thank you. Frank had it right, I think. I think that's his actual name. Much appreciated. Marty Wise, thank you so much. I see you in there. Everybody's all right. So everybody knew but me is what I'm getting out of that one. All right, let's continue.
Down. And as President Trump said at CPAC yesterday, each of us, if we haven't already, have a decision to make. Not in 2022 at the ballot box, but right here and right now, to choose a side.
She's just got that like strange, I may just stab you in your sleep type of vibe. You know what I mean? Like, I'll work by your side all day for years at a time, but you just never know when I'm really going to smash this laptop off your face in the middle of the night. Like, I don't know. That'd be something I'd be worried about if I was Donald Trump. If I ever saw those eyes, right? If you're that enveloped in the cult, like if you're that fucking gung-ho, you're already, just making an ass out of yourself on TV, talking about the 2020 election and, pumping up the J6 insurrectionists and shit like that. But yeah, this is some of the, the footage everybody's digging up here from Natalie Harper. Obviously, we only got through 43 seconds. It felt like 43 minutes. But let me see. There's one more that I just wanted to catch. I think it's in this area.
Supporters be labeled enemies of the state because they are still afraid, not just of President Trump, but we the people. Thank God for 4 years, we had one who still inspires us to this day, as do the words he spoke at West Point over 1 year ago.
Again, calling him God, like this whole thing where she truly believes that Donald Trump with his tiny fucking hands. Hold on, I got something for him. I got something for that. I think it was going to be somewhere in this. Yeah.
The rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Little hands. Referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me. He's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
So that's basically, just to send that message real quick to Natalie Harper. But somehow she believes that Donald Trump directly came into the hospital, spent his own dollars, or reached into her soul with his own little tiny hands and somehow saved her, personally, basically is what kind of set this whole thing off.
Which perhaps are even more timely now than they were then. And what history will remember as one of
just that mundane, monotone, just robotic-like repeating of the talking points. Like, and again, that's what caught the eye. I'm sure is more the blonde hair, the pretty face and shit. Let's be honest, that caught Donald Trump's attention, or anybody in Donald Trump's inner circle's attention, which ultimately made it so that she could be inside of that inner circle and hold. What is her fucking position? Now that I think about it. Now that I think about it, what the fuck what is her title? The fucking the human printer? Is that how she gets paid? Is that what's on the tax return? Like what is her fucking actual title? Does anybody in the chat know? The son of Satan. The son of Satan. Oh shit! Yeah, all right. No, right. Yeah. Somebody was reminding me that Corey Lewandowski was involved with Christy Noem. Thank you, Ellen. I appreciate that. Like I said, I forgot that dickhead for a minute. What's this? Fuck? Now I forget what I was just asking. What was I just asking? what was I just asking you guys? Shit. Little hands and micro penis. Bethany says, spot on. Right. Oh, her title. Is that what it is, Rox? Is that like literally? Is that what she just called an executive assistant? The thought just went through my head that we've been talking about her for the last, however many days, and I don't know what's her title. Like, what the fuck does she actually do besides print shit, and type shit? I'm not saying that's not a job in itself, but I don't think it's worth the money that she's probably getting and the benefits that she's definitely getting. But all right, let's see if we go into the Jen and Pump's reaction here from this exact video that we just watched. Let me throw this on your screen real quick. Typically, they got some funny insights. Jen Welch usually doesn't hold back in this regard, and Angie's a great kind of, backup to the commentary with their own little zingers that she throws in. And these are, they're specifically talking about Natalie Harp in that unearthed footage of her and the meltdowns, and obviously the stories surrounding her jumping in the back of vehicles. So again, I just want to see if we get into maybe a minute or two of this reaction from Jen and Pumps from the I've Had It podcast. Shout out to them. Let's see if we can kind of dive into and get into a little bit of trouble, with them from on the situation on the topic of Natalie Harp.
All right, my co-host is back, and we are ready to rip city on MAGA. Let's roll. MAGA is in a full-blown meltdown over Jon Ossoff and his attack, his very effective, very legitimate attack on Trump's stalker.
I don't think I even played that. Have I even played that yet? They might actually play that in this video, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. They might some point. I think I saw that this morning. If not, like I said, it's a really stupid, just kind of, basically paraphrasing saying that Donald Trump wanted to, he'd rather travel around with Natalie Harp, you know what I mean? Something along those lines. But I thought it was in here. I might be wrong. But anyway, I'll let it play. Sorry.
Natalie Harp, of course. Laura Ingraham, who we've decided, obviously, from other episodes, is incredibly horny. All she can do is talk about people's appearances. And then
Laura Ingraham, who we've talked about, is increasingly horny, and it's true. You could even look at, it was Greg Kelly, right? I won't waste your time, but if you go to Newsmax on YouTube and you look at their videos, Greg Kelly's talking about AOC and her looks. There was another video, I think, from, was it Carl Higbee? Somebody else on Newsmax that was also going after, like, Mamdani's looks and how he's always smiling, and El Sayed's looks, and wrapping that whole thing into that topic. So, they really are now, and I don't know if it's in defense of Natalie Harp or what it is, but, obviously Jen caught it.
And being hot, not policy, just this vapid stuff. Play the clip.
That pancake, bronzer, and all of that rouge, then we have an ambitious man, but one without a core. That's the most dangerous kind of politician out there.
I love that she's talking about somebody else wearing makeup.
Did somebody forget to wake her up in the tanning bed? Like, why does she look like, hold on, why does she look like this lady? Laura Ingraham is slowly turning into fucking this lady right here. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this story, but you're about to be. This is Laura. I swear to God, this is Laura Ingraham. Give her another 2 seasons. Okay? Give her another 2 seasons, and this is what. This is what you're going to see. How do you feel about the midterm loss of the Republicans? Tell us more about Sophie Cunningham, please. Sorry. I'm sorry. Wildcard. I'm sorry. Maybe Wildcard just joined us. We're looking at future pictures here of Laura Ingraham because it's like, am I wrong? Like, I feel like she's halfway there. Looks like somebody trapped her in Donald Trump's tanning bed, or like the spray can like just went off in her spray tan session or something. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, not sorry. But Laura, hold on. One more question. Yes, I do crack myself up. Yes, I fucking do. If you fucking can't crack yourself up, who can you crack up, right? Plus, it takes a certain individual to sit here and talk to a fucking computer and a camera. You know, you're going to be a little fucking loony anyway. So here I am. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. But sorry. Oh, get it out. Woosa. Laura Ingraham, everybody. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. All right. We'll continue. Come on. Mature up, Bri. Mature up. Here we go.
I love that she's talking about somebody else wearing makeup.
When I saw this, that's exactly what I thought. Like, you sit there and defend Donald Trump all day, every day with his diaper, his hair wig, his bronzer, his orange makeup, his makeup on his hands, and it's not even noticed or even looked at. And then the best they've got. Here's the problem for Fox News. The best they can do with Jon Ossoff is his appearance, and he's hot. We all know it.
I know. I really hope they keep this attack up because he's objectively attractive for a politician. So if they're going to try to make him unattractive, I want to see, let's put up Randy Fine next to Jon Ossoff. Let's put up Mitch McConnell next to Jon Ossoff. I mean, hell, I would even say I
think they talk about a Scott Jennings response too. I think Scott Jennings put out a tweet about this that they respond to as well. Hold on.
Concerns women. And where is Trump's wife? And so, of course, Scott Jennings, Lady Jennings, as I like to call him, he is responding now to Jon Ossoff's attack. Pop this up. He says, this is quite a message for the Democratic Party to send to young women working in politics. Party of women, pretty ugly stuff.
Right. The guy that goes on CNN on a nightly basis to simp for a fucking rapist and a pedophile. That guy. You're gonna literally open your fucking mouth, Scott Jennings. I don't think you have a fucking box to stand on here, not a fucking crutch to hold you up here. And if you did, I'd kick that sumbitch right out from underneath you. You're going to tell me that you on a nightly basis go out and support Donald Trump and Howard Nutlick and the rest of these fucking douchebags that have been friend with these high-class, Epstein-class, big-profile people for their entire life, but nobody knows anything or had anybody, nobody was affiliated and knew any of the crime. Everybody's clean. But, those are the same people that you're going to go out there and defend and obfuscate for. And you're going to sit here and try to say that because Jon Ossoff mentioned Natalie fucking Hopp in a speech in like a passing reference, that's somehow like going to be degrading or demeaning, or talk about the overall objective, or I guess view or vision about the Democrats and women. You know what I mean? Like, just asinine shit, just fucking dumb shit from a dumb individual given way too much fucking airtime on CNN to spew his fucking nonsense for absolutely no reason whatso goddamn ever. Like, they're going to change his mind after all these nights that he's been on with Abby Phillips, right? All the fucking, the times that he's flipped off, what was it, Adam Mockler, and, got pissed off at different women, and, the whole nine yards. We know he's a fraudster from his past anyway.
Angie.
Okay.
Hold on, but let me see. Did I get this wrong? No, they do talk about Natalie. Okay, here we go. Let me see what they talk about Natalie Hopp. My apologies. It was just a little deeper into the video than I anticipated.
CNN that is terrified of the FCC and terrified of getting their license revoked. And instead of saying, let's tee it up, we're not doing this. We're journalists. Let's tee it up. Let's take it all the way, however far we have to go. Let's tee it up. Let's go. because we are not going to lie and provide a nonstop serving of false equivalencies on our channel, but they don't because they're somewhat fascist collaborators here. And then Decoding Fox News. I love you, Decoding Fox News. Shout out to you. You're my girl. She is such a queen. She unearths footage of Natalie Harp's old appearance on OAN. Play the clip.
We can't talk about winning back the House and Senate in 2022 and the White House in 2020.
They only get through a short clip, so don't think that you're going to have to be exposed to this whole thing again. They don't get through much of it.
24 if we don't act on the fact that we actually did win the White House and the Senate in 2020. We shouldn't be afraid to say that because it's true. We the people know America as we know it could be ending in the next 2 or 4 years, which is exactly what President Trump is warning of. They think if they can get President Trump, they can get the 75 million people to shut up and stand down. And they, as
here's the thing. The qualification to run the Department of Defense, to run the Department of Homeland Security, to be Secretary of State, and now to be Trump's right-hand woman who has the most access and the closest access to the President of the United States, is to kiss his ass and put your lips on his ass, regardless of his behavior, his decisions, his appearance, his cognitive health, his physical health. All you have to do is fucking lie. And that's what they do in Russia.
And that and be willing to wipe old ass, right? I mean, let's just face it, right? You're going to have to be, you're not only going to be the human printer, but you're going to be the human ass wiper, right? That's like kind of her other title. Instead of printing out papers, she's going to print out baby wipes for Donald Trump. I think she's also got that. She can plug into her laptop. She can just fucking produce. She probably 3D prints fucking baby wipes at this point, so they don't have to spend so much money at the store. But you got to, every now and again, if you're wiping old ass, you're going to have to take some shit in the face. And I'm sure Natalie Harp has no problem whatsoever with the shit that's flying in her face, as long as she stays close to her dear best friend that she doesn't want to let down and means more than anything in the world to her. Nothing else matters than Donald Trump and again, these beautiful dresses that I can afford now.
I don't understand why anybody that is in Congress, Republican or Democrat, would look at this woman so closely tied to the president and say, that's exactly who we need in politics. We need a smart, unbiased expert in the field. Like, this just does not happen except in the upside down world of Trump world. The dumber you are, the more incompetent you are, but you have the ability.
Sycophantic. Got to throw that in there, Ange. Got to throw that in there. You got to be sycophantic. Like, that's literally what stands out. That's what sets you apart, right? It's not just there's a bunch of these dickheads that have gone on to OAN, RSBN, the rest of these fucking, what was the other one? There was another one, OAN, RSBN, and there was Newsmax. I think there was Real America's Voice is the other one. So there's a ton of these different, subsets of right-wing propaganda channels and, lower class networks that have a lot of these morons on them, just like Natalie Harp. But what stands out, obviously, looks is a big fucking thing in how far you're going to make it in the Trump administration and just how far you're willing to push the propaganda, right? The big probably line in the sand is the 2020 election. Right? I'm sure that's a big test for Donald Trump, anybody surrounding him. If you don't call out the 2020 election, if you're not an election denier, if you don't sit there and say that it was stolen, if you don't say that Biden robbed it from him, then that's, a clear indication that you're not going to be loyal and they don't need you around. That's not somebody that they're going to keep around. If you're going to toe the party line continuously, without question, then that's somebody that has a chance. Doesn't mean you're not going to end up on the outskirts. Doesn't mean you're not going to end up with a fucking boot in your ass, right? Much like, Tulsi Gabbard, much like we've seen from Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, the rest of these dickheads. You know what I mean? So that can still happen. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson to a certain extent, how they've kind of, they've kind of booted themselves in the own ass as far as out of MAGA, but, you get the point.
To go on and lie with a straight face to the American people and kiss Trump's ass, then you're in the cabinet, you've got full access. It's just so stunning, the way
right. That 9 Inch Nails got it right there. 9 Inch Nails got it right there, because that's the response that Trump needs to hear when you're in front of Congress, when you're in a committee, when you're doing an interview, when you're on Fox News, Newsmax, wherever it fucking is, right? That's the question that people always pose. Can you tell me? And, obviously he's paraphrasing, of course, here, but, the question will come, can you explicitly say right now that Joe Biden did in fact beat Donald Trump and win the 2020 election, right? And the known answer from these Trump sycophants will be, to kind of skirt the issue and say, well, he was sworn in, right? Not saying that, yes, it was legal, or not saying that, yes, it was just, but yes, he was sworn in, right? So kind of trying to beat the question, given a lackadaisical roundabout answer, but not in fact, giving into the, not in fact giving into the reality that Donald Trump did in fact get his ass kicked. That's how they kind of keep themselves out. So you're spot on there, Nine Inch Nails. Much appreciated.
Republicans have just let this country fall into fascism because they're too scared to go against Donald Trump.
Yeah, and I have been listening a lot to Ruth Ben-Ghiat lately, and she says, which I do all the time, you should go subscribe to her Substack, Lucid listener. She's fantastic. But to understand what's happening here is you have to kind of go back in Trump's life. And Roy Cohn taught Trump to get compromising information on people. And he's been doing it for decades, long before he was in politics. So when you see
great point, Jen. Great point. I mean, again, the more you point out what Donald Trump's upbringing was like and who his idols and who kind of sculpted the disgusting human being that Donald Trump inevitably turned into was, let's be real, was probably born as, you got to throw in I forget his name. What the fuck's the name she just said? Why am I blanking on it?
You have to kind of go back in Trump's life. And Roy Cohn,
my apologies. Roy Cohn, kind of blanked on it for a second there. But you can't talk about Donald Trump and the way he is now without going back and talking about Roy Cohn, right? Without talking about the way that he basically groomed Donald Trump into all of these different ways to manipulate the media, different ways to present himself in ways that weren't real, right? To project wealth, to project power where he actually had none, right? Obviously, he got a lot of his, backdoor, gross, affinities and affections for young people, let's just say, without taking it too far here on YouTube, because Roy Cohn was widely known, publicly known for his dealings with young boys, let's just say. So, not crazy to hear that Donald Trump has been for years associated with people like this, even well before Jeffrey Epstein even got into the picture. So, I mean, again, even if you do remove himself or he tries to remove himself from the Epstein fucking investigation, from that whole process, you can still go back even further in his history, further in his life, and see that he was already around pedophiles. That's his mentor. That's his dude, right? That's the guy that taught him, if he loses a court case, come out and say that the judge was corrupt. If you lose a court case, come out and say that you fucking won, right? Just confuse the media, obfuscate, fucking dodge, dip, and dive like he's in the fucking dodgeball movie. That's what he taught him to do, and he's kind of utilized that through his life, obviously with the help of his dad's, corporations, his dad's money that he had to utilize and play with his entire life. But that's you can't talk about who he is today and what we're seeing today without going back and talking about Roy Cohn and obviously other aspects of his upbringing as well. Obviously, his relationship with his father, you could talk about. But great point by Jen. Great point.
On Trump to get compromising information on people. And he's been doing it for decades, long before he was in politics. So when you see Marco Rubio...
C-SPAN is showing Melania. What the fuck is she doing? Am I hearing that right? Hold on. Let me see. Let me see here. What's she yapping about? Or am I reading that wrong? Am I just going on a wild goose chase here? C-SPAN live stream. C-SPAN. Is it live right now? It doesn't even say it's live. What am I getting? Am I missing this? Am I getting caught up in a conversation that's not happening? Nola says, yep. Upcoming. That's not live. That says upcoming still. That's not live. Where the fuck? Why? Oh, maybe it's just not on YouTube yet? Let me go to C-SPAN regular. C-SPAN. Will it show it on their website, you think? C-SPAN TV schedule? That's not what I want. This is just, again, even if I do find it's going to be a useless fucking goose chase, I mean, what the hell could she be yapping about? All right, let's see here. Share this tab. Is this what you're talking about? Is this what's going on? Is this what's happening?
Introduce a true champion, the chairman of Penske Entertainment.
And let me tell you how much I do not give a flying fuck about all of the things that I'm about to talk about here. Please sit down and listen to how much I don't give a fuck about Christmas, about thismas, or about yoursmas. None of this do I give fucks about. So let me tell you about all of this right now. All of the foster care that I do not give a fuck about, and these kids that I could care less about right now. Let them starve in Gaza. Let Israel do everything that they want to do in killing the children. And let me tell you how much I do not give a fuck. I do not care about these foster kids. Please sit. Take your seats. Thank you. I am Melania.
And owner of IndyCar, Mr. Roger Penske.
Oh, she's done already? Yep. Here we go. This would be the first time she's got a manly embrace in I don't know how long, because she definitely doesn't get it from her fucking husband. She's enjoying this. Watch how much she enjoys this. Might be just a handshake, but I'm sure she's gonna light up like a Christmas tree that she does not give a fuck about. Oh yeah, there you go. Touch the hand. Beautiful. There we go.
Well, welcome everyone.
All right. Well, hold on. I guess you could probably go back and see what other stupid shit she was talking about, right?
And Purdue University.
Purdue. Do the Purdue do the chicken? Do the Purdue do the university? It confuses me every time. I don't know if it's the chicken or the university, this Purdue.
Join fostering the future's growing coast-to-coast alliance of leading academic institutions.
Academic, so it's good because we cut the funding for cancer research for children. We let the Doge come in, and we take away the funding for all this healthcare for many, many people and kids. And what I'm going to do is hold a press conference here and tell you how much I do not give a fuck about foster kids. But I'm going to pretend for this time right now that I am on the camera. I am on the camera, and I love the camera. I do love the camera. So I'm on the camera, and I'm going to pretend right now that I give a fuck about any of this because my PR people said I need to, basically.
Congratulations and thank you. Together, they expand a national network of 26 universities that prepare.
I can't. Sorry. Can't do it. Can't fucking do it. It's about as much Melania as I can handle right there. So, I don't know, doing something with foster kids, but anytime you got kids associated with somebody with the last name Trump, you should probably be more worried than happy. I'm just saying. Just saying. You know, as much as we like to see some benefits and some, you know, something thrown at and you know, helping with the foster care and the foster system that we have in this country, absolutely all for it. But again, kids, Trump last name, anybody associated with this White House, not a good mix. Oil, water, maybe you want to keep them away. Just saying. Just, you know, I'm just going to throw that out there on that limb. You guys want to grab it. If you want to pick that ball up, you can pick that ball up. I'm going to leave that right there for you guys. But all right, what do you say we dive into the threat, the World War II threat, the I don't know, the World War II like economic warfare that Donald Trump's threatening here on his Truth Social, and then we'll get into, you know, because you know when Donald Trump releases propaganda, Benny Johnson's not far behind. So we're gonna call out Benny Trump's Benny Trump. Oh, what's going on? You lost browser screen share? Sons of bitches. Why do they just try to make it difficult? Nothing can just be easy. Give me a second here. Let me put this up on the screen. No, that's not the one. Oh, yeah, it is the one I want. Put this up there. Sorry, guys. Hit that like button while you're waiting. My apologies. You know, StreamYard doing StreamYard things, guys. That's what it does. All right, let's just read this fucking rambling, nonsensical fucking spewings of a madman, if we can. Yeah, thank you. Let's do it together, because I can't do it alone. I would flip out. All right, here. Donald Trump says, and let's see when this was posted. August 19th, so yesterday, 6:59 p.m. And then we'll go on and talk about, got to get it ready. Got to get it ready. Hold on, because I know he doesn't remember the country that he's talking about. Never remembers this goddamn country that he's talking about. So I got to get that ready. All right, so he says, nobody has ever given the
Islamic Republic of Japan
a greater opportunity to make a greater opportunity to make a deal than me. Tragically, all caps, so you could obviously project that one a little more. For them, they have failed to take it. Therefore, today, I am announcing the most crushing economic operation ever taken against any country. All caps, in case you're just listening. That's why that happened. This will be economic warfare in isolation on an unprecedented scale. Their navy is gone. Their air force is destroyed. Their military factories are now rubble. Their currency is worthless, and their country is hanging by a thread. Somehow, they've managed to, again, almost eliminate in totality the effectiveness of all the U.S. bases in the Middle East. Again, not allowing the traversing of as many ships that were going through the Strait pre-war that are going on right now. Definitely responsible for the deaths of 18 U.S. servicemen and women. Talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of deaths affiliated with these strikes. But somehow, not to talk about the equipment that we've lost: MQ-9 Reapers, the stockpiles of Tomahawks, the F-35s. I mean, the list continues to go on as far as expenditures in this war and, the capabilities that Iran has shown. But again, this is the propaganda that he spews, and that's what Benny Johnson's going to have to kind of reinforce. So that's how it works. You guys know that. You guys have fucking done this long enough. I don't have to tell you. It goes from Donald Trump. It goes from the White House. The propaganda mouthpieces pick it up, and they spew it the way that they want to spew it. And then we have to sit here and call it out. That's what we do. But all right, let's go back into this. Let's see what fucking point of this rambling, nonsensical bullshit we left on. Oh, yeah, worthless currency. And their country is hanging by a thread, he says. Today, I am also, and you can tell that he didn't write this because the comma, again, I don't know, maybe, to a certain degree, she does understand English and grammar as far as Natalie Hoppe is concerned, but definitely doesn't come from Trump's fingers on this one. Today, I'm also announcing that any country that allows its financial institutions, business, airports, government entities to provide any type of lifeline to,
the Islamic Republic of Japan.
It will itself face tremendous economic consequences. Oil smuggling, swap lines, cash transfers, exchange houses, ship registries, front companies. It all needs to stop now. You know who you are. This will be an economic D-Day, he says. Economic D-Day. We all need all of our allies to stand with the United States of America to isolate and defeat
the Islamic Republic of Japan.
These maniacs are on the ropes, and these historic measures will cripple them in their ability to project their terror worldwide. Hold on, it says here. Oh, I gotta go back.
Islamic Republic of Japan.
Will never have a nuclear weapon. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So, again, kind of putting himself in a sticky situation here. Like, how does he actually go about this? Because do you think that do you think that Russia or China are going to read this post and be like, oh, shit, we got to cut off everything. Just cut them off. We can't do everything that we've doing for generations at this point, right? The relationships that we've already had long-lasting and been built for fucking some time now, we're going to have to cut off those because Trump put in a Truth Social that it's going to be an economic D-Day. Meanwhile, these countries have literally built their economies on the fact that they're going to be sanctioned, or sometime in the future they're going to go to war with the United States, and these sanctions would be a thing, and economic pressure would be a thing. That's why we've seen Russia's economy last as long as it has and be as resilient as it has. When you have that long, much like Iran does, right? I mean, not saying that there's no damage, right? I mean, we're the ones here that continue to talk about that there's absolutely lying coming from the Iranian side, that they're absolutely feeling the pain and the pressure. They're they're absolutely putting their own civilians under severe, strain from this, but they're willing to do it. They don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? The Ayatollahs and the fucking clerics and shit, they don't give a fuck. They got the money to pad them. They got the industries that they own. They got whatever, routes of funds that they can utilize. It's the poor people, right? It's the rest of the people in the country that are going to suffer with the inflation, right? Going to suffer with the destruction to the infrastructure that happens inside the country. But they're just willing to go along with it. That's the problem that we have. That asymmetric bullshit that we continue to talk about, they're just willing to subject their citizens to that. The United States doesn't have the option, with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve continuing to have to be dipped into to keep the fucking oil markets at, whatever level they are. Let's take a look real quick, actually. Let me take a look, see where they are. Put this over here so I can see both you guys at the same time. So we're looking at oilprice.com here, right? We're looking at Brent crude at $93.06. So back up over $90 a barrel. WTI hovering right at 86. You can see, but look at the Murban. Look at the Murban. Cracking 100. Okay? So, I mean, this is not equalizing. This is not what Benny Johnson had come out and said that we're like on the verge of $2.50 gas. Because you can look at the gas prices, which I can also pull up for you guys. You throw this on this screen so I can see you both at the same time. Right? So here's the national average for gas, guys. Today, $4.10. Right? Over $4 is the average. And I'm sure a lot of you in the chat are paying well more than that. I'm sure some are fortunate enough to be paying less. But, let's just fucking take a look real quick. If you're in Alaska, you're paying an average of almost $5 a gallon, $4.83 a gallon if you're living in Alaska. If you're unfortunate enough to be in Hawaii dealing with all the storms, shout out to Adam. dealing with all the fucking devastation and the storms and the shit going through, good vibes and healing vibes and all the good way, the good feeling sent your way, Adam. But anyway, if you're in Hawaii, $5.42 is the average of what you'll be paying. God forbid you live in fucking California, because you're looking at an average of $5.58, and I'm sure in a lot of places well higher than that. $4.77 in Nevada, $4.68 in Arizona, $4.49, about $4.50 in Idaho. We got Oregon is at $4.75, Washington $5.24. What do we got? Colorado $4.47, Illinois $4.39. Then you can see here the rest of the states kind of lagging just behind, $4.20, so above the national average. Michigan $4.20, above the national average. New York above the national average. Vermont above the national average. We got New York down here as well, like I said, above the national average. Iowa above the national average. Minnesota above the national average. New Mexico above the national average. Wyoming well above the national average. Montana well above the national average. So this is what we're dealing with. Like, as they continue to say that, the oil is flowing, the strait is open. Meanwhile, the number that I heard reported was about 6 ships that were able to make it through the strait. I know the clandestine operation of Donald Trump and the U.S. military trying to sneak ships through in the dead of night is also ongoing, but the reports do not in any way line up with the claims from Donald Trump and his administration about the amount of oil, the amount of traffic that is able to get through the strait, right? So it's just, once again, does not line up with reality, does not line up with what we're seeing on the ground. And this is what we're dealing with. Back to the oil prices, $93, where were they? At $55-ish a barrel before the war, looking at, roughly $2.50 gas. And again, this is the instability that has been thrust upon us. We continue to talk about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve being under, 300 million barrels. I think there's a tipping point, so to speak, where it's somewhere in the neighborhood of, if we get down to 200 million barrels, some funny things start happening with the actual, what do you want to call it? The cavern. I forget what the salts, what do they keep them in, salt mines or something like that? Salt caverns. But apparently there's degradation that will come if there's not enough oil in there. So, that's also a problem that we're looking at. And if that can't be used and we can't dip into that anymore to try to stabilize the markets, then we got a fucking serious problem on our hands. But yes, so it says Russia's fuel crisis hits Moscow as rationing spreads. So, just another side of the war there in Russia. Their economy taking the hit absolutely from these ongoing strikes from Ukraine. But let's see, where were we? We were just doing let's dive into this asshole. Well, that, again, sounds very bad. So let me pause on that one. My apologies. But let's see if we can call out this asshole, right? So this is Benny Johnson. And if, like I said, Donald Trump's putting out a propaganda statement, putting out a bullshit statement like the one we just read, Benny Johnson's propaganda is not going to be far behind. Now, I understand. It's tough looking at this guy's face, but unfortunately, he's one of the more prominent, if not the most prominent ass licker, boot licker for Donald Trump, the guy that promotes his propaganda the most, the guy that literally came out and said that he was sick of the negativity surrounding Donald Trump and was going to do nothing but report on positive things, basically outright calling himself a propagandist, a gaslighter. If you don't report everything, then that's basically what you are. So this is titled, Iran Thought They Beat Trump, but Trump's oil power move changed everything. Keystone XL pipeline open, which is, again, another one of Donald Trump's tweets or Truth Socials that he's, going to reopen. And I think that's a deal in the works with Canada that he reported to get the shale oil flowing once again there from the Keystone XL pipeline. So let's see if we can get into a little bit of this Benny Johnson propaganda piece. And I think it's pretty funny because originally, and again, I think I saw about 30 seconds of this. The first thing that he does is he pulls up an old Donald Trump tweet from, I think, 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And it's talking about the Strait of Hormuz, believe it or not. Donald Trump has a tweet on Twitter talking about Obama, I believe, and how Iran was going to retaliate by closing the Strait of Hormuz. I shit you not. So Benny Johnson's trying to use that as a flex, right? But let me explain to you how it is the complete and total opposite of a flex, right? So I'll go on. I'll let him show it and I'll explain it after. Okay.
This is your historic white pill for the day. President Trump is a time traveler. And he was able to predict back in 2012 what was about to happen to our nation. I cannot believe this is real. It is. This is a real tweet. Donald Trump sent it. This is Trump's real account. There we go. Verified. Iran is going to shut the Strait of Hormuz, and Barack Obama won't approve the Keystone Pipeline. His energy policy makes America weak. Oh, okay. Well, Iran has shut the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, so let's just break this down, can we? Shall we? Guys, can everybody just stick with me for a moment? Eyes on. Let's go here. Focus. So let's just think here. Donald Trump, in January of 2012, knew that Iran, in their retaliation, would most likely close the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? We're talking about 14 fucking years ago. Donald Trump, apparently, and again, judging by what's on the screen here today, knew, or somebody had told him, whatever the fuck happened, that the Strait of Hormuz was going to be the retaliatory aspect of Iran if Obama were to do something to piss off Iran, right? In this case, he's attributed to the Keystone Pipeline. But regardless, whatever he is done to piss off Iran, he knows that would be the problem. He knows that would be the likely retaliation. But 14 years later, he's now president of the United States, decides to, in conjunction with Benjamin Netanyahu, enact a sneak attack, second such sneak attack as we're negotiating with this country, as we assassinate their leader, right? And what happens is they close the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation. Did we see that coming? Did we have the ingredients in place, the necessary components in place to mitigate or to stop that from happening? Or did we even have the overwhelming military force to make sure that their military didn't have the ability to do exactly what they've done? So this is not a flex. This is showing you that the guy that you are leading, the guy that you are following, I should say, is absolutely fucking brain dead, has lost his God for fucking sake in mind, that clearly has no more mental capacity left and surrounds himself with absolute fucking twat bags, right? That are dumber than him, that are just yes men, that fucking will tell him that everything's correct. He fucking smells great. His diaper looks fantastic. Boy, does your hair look great today, sir, is the people that he's got around him. But 14 fucking years ago, he apparently knew that this was going to be a thing. But let us get into this situation in 2026 by not reacting, by not fucking setting us up for the security for the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, is that a flex, or is that somebody that clearly fucking went about this the entirely wrong way? That clearly was either misinformed, too ignorant, too incompetent to recognize exactly what the threat would be for generations at this point. Since Iran's been saying it, since Iran's been threatening the bases in the Middle East, been threatening our Gulf partners if, in fact, we were to do anything, again, that pissed them off, bombing, assassinations, whatever it may be. We've seen little tit for tat, but they've said it. It's not a secret. Right? It's not like something that the CIA had to find out through fucking uncovered classified information. It's they're saying, hey, we're going to close the fucking strait if you guys bomb us. And apparently, back in 2012 was already widely known. But did they think about that in 2026? They sure the fuck didn't.
Unless, of course, you're listening to President Trump, who says that the Strait of Hormuz is actually American territory.
Which is just, again, almost as ridiculous as not suspecting that the Strait of Hormuz would be closed in retaliation for a war. This is beyond propaganda at this point, okay? This is straight appeasement of Donald Trump because it's something that he said. It's something that he let fall out of his fucking asshole-shaped, orange-crusted little mouth that he's got on that fucking disgusting face of his, right? So then the White House had to kick into high gear. Let's make a meme. Like the Gulf of fucking America. You know what I mean? He said it. We made a meme. Next thing you know, it turned into a fucking thing, apparently, according to Donald Trump. Nobody else calls it that, but, he believes it, so it's all good. But this is the same shit. And this is Benny Johnson out there knowing that this is fucking ridiculous, right? We can't even get ships through to the degree that they were before the fucking war started. We're talking about control and ownership and making it a territory. Yeah, let's make a territory where all the fucking mines are. Let's send our troops into where the fucking missiles are dropped. Like the insanity of even thinking about this, like the added costs and dangers that would come across or come with the attempted occupation of the fucking Strait of Hormuz by the United States. You think Oman and you think fucking, Iran would just be like, okay, yep, oh, that was good. We lost all these people. You killed all these soldiers. You eliminated our fucking, Ayatollah. You killed 170 girls in Manab. Who knows how many other fucking innocent children you've killed in these strikes. But yeah, sure, go ahead. Take the territory. Go ahead. You take the one thing, the biggest thing that we have as far as control in this situation. But yeah, go for it. You think that's what's going to happen? Or are they going to lob fucking drones and missiles into this bitch until the United States, finally recognizes that it's, not feasible right? Not sustainable to make this international waterway a United States territory. But this is the level of propaganda that has to go on right now, right? This is what has to happen in 2026. This level into the dictatorship, right? The cult leader, the cult-like aspect of MAGA this far into it, with all of the lies, with all of the stories that have come out, with the ways in which Donald Trump has even thrown his old cult members under the bus and lied to them and promised them different things, only to come in and provide the exact opposite of what he promised. Like, this is the we continue to use the analogy of the people that ride the Titanic down with the band. Like, this is what's happening. These are the people in Hitler's bunker at the end of World War II. Right? These are the people like, okay, at any moment now, we're going to utilize the fucking, the 4th Army and the 7th Brigade to crack through the Russian lines. Meanwhile, the fucking 4th Army and the 7th fucking Brigade's been dead for 2 weeks. They've been literally eliminated in whole by the Russian military, or on the other side by the Allies, but they're still trying to get in there and talk about how, this can be saved, telling Hitler everything's fine, don't worry, happy birthday, Mr. Fuhrer, thank you, don't worry, that's only Russian artillery you hear bombing the shit out of Berlin up there, but, don't worry, everything's going to be A-okay, everything's A-okay, we're going to be fine. Meanwhile, they're contemplating which they have to do, fucking put the bullet in their head or put the cyanide in their mouth, you know what I mean? That's literally what's going on the right side of their brain as they're telling themselves everything's okay. But that's what's happening. This is the level of sycophancy. This is the level of cult-like behavior that you're going to have to get used to. Not used to, but that you're going to get more and more, that you're more and more likely to see as we cover these topics, as we call out these people. This is the outright abject bullshit that they even know is ridiculous, that they're going to have to try to push because there's nothing left. There's absolutely nothing left. There's no way for them to defend, the stance on the Epstein files. There's no way for them to defend the stance on the tariffs. These companies are already getting billions and billions and billions of dollars in return for the tariffs that they were charged. Meanwhile, you and me and everybody else in this chat had already paid the exorbitant price increases that went along with these tariffs. So these motherfuckers are double dipping at your expense, at my expense. That's what happened with these tariffs. Right? The companies saw that they were getting tariffed. They raised the prices on shit. Now, when the Supreme Court said, absolutely not, that's fucked up, can't do that, like they had to literally send the money back. So they're getting paid back for the money that you had already spent in their stores. So fucking double dipping, baby. Like it reminds me of COVID and how people scammed the system, with the payouts from, when we were going through the whole COVID crisis. Like that's the same fucking shit. Unreal.
President Trump posting this image. The Strait of Hormuz is a new U.S. territory.
Which it's absolutely fucking not, in which they had to walk back almost. He's already explained this on his show. We already played a clip of Benny Johnson where he played the actual clip of Donald Trump saying this, and immediately he had to say the White House walked it back. But this is Benny Johnson's game. This is what he does. He keeps going after tweet after tweet after tweet, anything that he can pickpocket, anything that he can cherry pick and throw on his show to continue pushing the fucking party line, to make it so he's, showing everybody that he's still, willing to go along with the fucking cult. That's what he has to do. Like, look at the amount of tabs that he has open up top, the Twitter tabs. Like, that is just not healthy. I got a shitload open too, but I feel like, we're covering way more important stuff. He's got like Nick Sordor, fucking Eric Doherty, Jake Lang, Cam Higbee. Like, those are the fucking dick bags that he watches.
They say that we should call this the George Strait and blare country music over the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh, that's hilarious. Hold on. Do I have a laugh? Do I have a laugh sound? Because I'll give you an applause. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. The George Strait. I get it. Fucking moron. Shut your trap, Benny. Good grief. Are these people fucking insufferable?
President Trump has said that there's no longer any.
Yeah. And again, hold on. Let me talk about the ownership and control of the territory that's not ever going to be a territory that would cost way too much to become a territory and put our military in way too much danger to become a territory. And right after that, talk about how there's no resolution whatsoever, no outcome whatsoever, no talks happening whatsoever between, Donald Trump and the
Islamic Republic of Japan.
Like that's how do you line these things up? How do you talk about how this is great? Oh, we're almost out of this. It's finished. Iran's done. And then talk about the next clip is Donald Trump saying that there's no negotiations, nothing scheduled. We're doing nothing. Everything's remaining the same, and I'm waiting them out.
Conversations going on with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The naval blockade has remained in full of force and effect in Hormuz Strait is open and operating. So a lot of people see this as a meme or potentially bluster, right?
Yeah, exactly. A billion, a trillion %. That is exactly what that is. It is an appeasement of a child-minded fucking lunatic that is now seated in the Oval Office. That's exactly what this is. Okay, this is an appeasement of a guy that's absolutely brain dead, dementia riddled, sitting there drooling on himself, shitting in his pants, having Natalie Hobb type out whatever dribbles out of his fucking slurring mouth that he can't control any fucking more because it droops because of the stroke he apparently had. But that's, yes, this is exactly what that was made for. So he can read that in the morning and see, oh, that's great. You know, I said it, you made a picture of it. Awesome. I'm the king. Let me know how it goes next time. Like, just, you know, let me crawl out of Trump's asshole, Benny does every day to kind of make some of these videos. And then he, at night, must crawl right back up into the warm, fucking comforting feeling of Donald Trump's taint.
But what it really is President Trump predicting way back in 2012 what his strategy was going to be. And his strategy is working. And this isn't according...
His strategy's fucking working. Fucking strategy's working. It's going to be a 4-week campaign. We're now, 6 months into this motherfucker. We spent billions and billions of dollars, nearly 20 service members taken out, hundreds wounded. The strait's been closed, gas prices through the asshole, right? Oil prices fluctuating like it's, I don't know, like it's a fucking video game at this point. You never know what's going on with those fucking things. And you're telling me the system's working? Fuck me. How do you degrade yourself to this point, right? How do you get out there and you're like, I just know this isn't what's happening in reality, but I'm going to tell you otherwise. Like, I am going to tell you this. I know this is stupid, but I'm still going to do it. Like, I don't have that in me. I don't. I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, if I was trying to gaslight you guys about, I don't know, fucking the war in Ukraine, like, I couldn't do it. Like, I still have to report in my heart what's going on, the bad things, the things that we have to worry about. You know, I want to know the whole picture. I just couldn't do it to you guys. And it seems so easy for them. And, you know, it's crazy that, you know, it's the money behind it and, you know, the millions of dollars that this guy probably makes and doesn't give a fuck. Meanwhile, I am incredibly passionate about all of these topics and in situations that we talk about. And, you know, I'm nowhere near that level at, you know, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm fucking robbing Peter to pay Paul over here to keep the lights on. So it's just the whole discrepancy of how willing you are to lie and to propagandize your audience compared to the money that you get for doing so. Like, that's just not where I want to take this platform. I never have. I never will. You know, I promise to give you guys the honest truth as I see it. And, you know, if I fuck up, if I, you know, make a mistake, then I promise that I will do my best to fix that and to make sure that we get the information right. And, you know, it's just, I want to make sure that people know when they're coming here, you know, it may be, you know, a little bit of a different broadcast considering my style and stuff, but I do want to give you guys the accurate news, the accurate information. You know, obviously throwing my opinions on there and listening to you guys in the chat, what you guys feel. But to sit here and have him say that this fucking plan is working is ludicrous. Like, well, we're running out of words here. We're running out of words to describe this shit. Like, in what way, shape, form, data set is the plan working? And again, what he's putting on the screen are actual reports. And I think I said this the other day, where it does seem like, to some degree, and we'll absolutely be able to report this, that, you know, not only is the naval blockade having an impact on the Iranian economy, but they're obviously at some point, and it's like, I don't know if it's losing control, but, you know, more ships are being taken out through the Omani route than the Iranian route. So, you know, I guess on one aspect, in one hand, you could say they're losing control, but it's still, I believe, you know, in conjunction with their partner. Like, they've obviously been in negotiations and talks with Oman about control and ownership over that. So does it really show? And I know there's, to a certain degree, some more oil, you know, but again, still reported in the single digits to a large degree as far as I've seen. So nothing anywhere remotely close to, I think Benny Johnson says here, like 15 million barrels have been coming out per day. I haven't seen that by any of the market experts, anybody that's watching this. I know they're trying to claim that, like, because the transponders are off and they're coming through at night, that, you know, a lot of people just can't see them. So that's why people don't know. But why is oil right now at what it is? Why are we seeing crude right now at about 90, you know, give it an average between WTI and Brent there relatively? Why is that like that if so much oil is flowing through? And then, you know, the reports of, you know, Donald Trump taking so much oil out of Venezuela as well. So where is the benefit? Where is that now helping us in bringing down the levels and the cost of the price per barrel of oil to ultimately help people when they're going into winter, to ultimately help people when they have to pay for a gallon of gas at the fucking pump. Like why is that not a thing? So that's another aspect. Not only are the experts that I watch or listen to or see their reports on, like not saying that the amount of oil, the amount of ships are coming through. A lot of them are even like cargo vessels. You know what I mean? So not even the LLVs. The large, what do they call them? The large vessels, large something vessels. I'm getting that wrong, but it's not even those that are going through to a certain degree. It is just kind of like the cargo vessels, which is good. And then I've also heard that it's kind of like it's oil for countries that it doesn't benefit us anyway. Like I think it was Iraqi oil. The last report that I saw, a couple ships that were able to make it through. So it's nowhere near the reality. The reality is nowhere near what Donald Trump would have you believe. So that's, again, the reason why we need to continue to report on this stuff. So let me see. I think there was one other thing. Oh, yeah, hold on. I do. Laura, there's a report by Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingraham on Fox News here with the live report. Let me get her thoughts real quick. Sorry. That was right in the mic. Sorry. Oh, fucking Jesus. That got me today. Thank you guys for giving me that. I really do appreciate it. I surely do. All right, we'll end on this. I know, is it 4:30 already? The fuck am I doing? All right, we'll end on this one. Because this is just a short kind of clip put together by CNN, and I do believe maybe Abby Phillips' show in particular. But this is a clip, and we'll end on Donald Trump just completely disrespecting women. And then you can compare that to the first thing that we saw, which was the response to Jon Ossoff by Scott Jennings there, talking about like the treatment of women, the party of women, as we've already talked about. As Scott Jennings, his literal job is to protect the pedophile. Like, again, anybody that's got that role needs to shut his fucking trap about anything. Like, sit there in the fucking corner and be quiet, you little bitch. Because if you open your mouth, I'm just going to rip you to fucking shreds, rhetorically, of course, with all of the evidence we have against you, of you, again, protecting pedophiles, you guys obfuscating for fucking dictators and fascists. So, again, why don't you sit there and shut the fuck up, Scott? And then we can look at, again, the person that he's actually defending. So, again, this is a little compilation here of Donald Trump disrespecting and degrading women, and the Republican Party not giving a flying fuck about it. Meanwhile, trying to attack any Democrat, progressive, liberal, whatever they call it, for any, out of character behavior, we'll say.
Let me go ahead and just play it, because there's just such a long history of this. Trump punching down, insulting women. Let's just play it.
Scott never complaining about it.
And you hear him in the background. I forget the gentleman's name. My apologies, but you heard him in the background. And Scott never complaining about it. And he fucking boom, stick him again with it. Because you need to beat him over the head rhetorically. Of course, rhetorically. Wax on and wax off rhetorically. But rhetorically, go after that motherfucker. Telling you right now. Embarrass the son of a bitch so bad that he doesn't want to show up next time on fucking CNN, because he knows he looks like such a fucking prick. Because he knows his fucking clothes, the emperor's clothes, were torn off on CNN live there. And it's somebody that, Scott Jennings never complains about Donald Trump's behavior against women, never complains about the fact that he's been found liable for fucking rape. Right? Never talks about the fact that he went on to defame the woman that he raped twice. Never talks about the fact that he fucking cheated on his wife, who had just given birth 5 months ago, with a porn star in Colorado, I do believe. Never talks about the time where he wants to grab women by the pussy because he thinks he's a big fucking celebrity and they let you do it. Never talks about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Never talks about the fact that he had and owned his plane afterwards for a period of time and utilized that for campaign purposes. Never talks about the fact that he's on the fucking flight log as many times as he is. Never talks about how he's in the Epstein files more than fucking Jeffrey Epstein and his goddamn self. I don't hear that coming out of Scott Jennings' mouth, right? But he'll let this slide, like this attitude here, this type of behavior from Trump is okay with him.
Like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
Your Twitter account.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
But what?
And again, to the secondary aspect of the fucking crowd in the background laughing, you degenerate hyena pig fucking motherfuckers, right? Oh, he's degrading and he's called women slobs. Shut the fuck up, you fucking cracker bastards.
We want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile.
And again, one of the most direct misogynistic things, right? Oh, you look better if you smile, sweetheart. Stop. Why don't you stop looking so fucking down and depressed, right? Please, put on a smile. It'll be much more beautiful. Like, shut the fuck up. Don't tell anybody how to look, feel, smile. Answer the fucking question and shut your fucking flabby face up. How about that? You know what I mean? How about we stop trying to tell, oh, smile. Fuck you. Maybe they're in a bad mood. Maybe they had a bad day. Stick it up your ass, dickhead. The fuck is it to you? Answer the question, you fucking pompous prick. Son of a bitch.
Well, I'm asking you about survivors of Jeffrey Epstein.
Quiet, pig. He should have got a fucking slap right across his fucking jaw for that one. I don't think anybody would have given the reporter any shit whatsoever if she just fucking popped off real quick with a big old slap across Donald Trump's fucking vagina neck. Of course, she wouldn't want to touch that. She'd probably have to disinfect herself afterwards. But all right, sorry that I went over time today. Thank you guys for the opportunity of giving you guys the facts, the news, a little bit of laughter, a little bit of joy in there, getting some of the frustrations out as well. I continue to be enraged. I continue to be frustrated. I continue to be angered and embarrassed about the fact that us here in the United States and the leader that we have here continues to praise autocratic dictators and murderous genocidal freaks that are actively killing our allies, that are actively targeting civilians on a nightly basis. And we just continue to see the friendship. We just continue to see the blossoming, affinity of our dear leader that he has for other leaders and dictators around the world, and how it's degrading not only our allies, not only degrading our relationships around the world, but literally killing our civilians, literally taking innocent civilians off this planet because Donald Trump is too fucking weak, too pathetic, and too much of a pussy-ass bitch to stand up to Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un or Xi Jinping or Viktor Orban or any of these fucking pricks around the world. None of them does he have the balls to do it. He wants to make sure that it's a good friendship that he has. He calls Kim Jong-un. We'll end on this and we'll go through and we'll thank people. We'll end on this. Kim Jong-un is directly responsible for the deaths of innocent civilians. Directly. Sending supplies, sending weaponry, sending men and manpower to the fight over there in Russia so that Russia can send them into Ukraine to kill Ukrainians, our allies, that we're supposed to be protecting. And Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the United States, is out there praising Kim Jong-un as a respectful, well-behaved person since he's been in office. So let that sink in. And if that doesn't piss you off, if that doesn't enrage you, if that doesn't get you, kind of out of your seat and willing to support this fight, support channels like this that, go over and talk about topics like this, support the Ukrainians, where obviously our country and our government, I'll say, is not, then, I don't know what to tell you. But anybody that does believe in all this, anybody that does believe in the fight, anybody that does and is passionate about these topics and does enjoy the commentary, does enjoy the show, please hit that like button. Leave a comment afterwards. Tell us that you like it. Tell us that you don't like it. Tell us where we can improve. Tell us what you think is a good part of the show. And again, if there's any clip artists out there, anybody in the chat on Twitch, anybody over there, if they're watching on Kick, I have no idea. I just put us on there and just kind of hoping for the best. If anybody in any of the platforms that we're on knows how to clip, likes clipping channels like this, likes clipping shows like this, if you find a funny moment, if you find an educational moment, an informative moment, I feel free. You have my permission to clip the shit out of it, send it out there on social media, tag me in it, and I'll be sure to kind of spread that out there on my social media feeds. And let me show you this. Put this up there because we have all of my social medias here that you can follow, and I think it is, which one is it? No idea. I think it's this one. All right, so this is all my social medias, guys, right here. So you can follow me on Facebook, obviously. You can follow me on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of people are probably watching here now. Thank you to the YouTube folks. You can watch me on Instagram. You can watch me on Twitch. You can watch me on Blue Sky and follow my stuff there. You can follow on Facebook, TikTok as well. You can do Threads. You can do Substack. And again, we don't charge for Substack. Nothing's hidden behind a paywall, guys. We're not charging you to, sit here and chat. There's no members-only chats. There's no commercials that I play on my side of things, at least. during these podcasts. So it's an independent, truly independent channel. It really is. So it is literally blue collar. With your support, generosity, and contributions that we're able to do this. I continue to let you guys know that it is the worst financial decision I've ever made in my life to stop my plumbing career, to talk about these really important subjects that I am very passionate about and thought I could be of some assistance with. But, just for the community that we have built here already, thank you guys for making it very much well worth it. Keeping me coming back, I should say, every single show with passion, with vigor, with a fire and a passion to talk about these stories, to continue to dive into these tough topics, and to build this community that I am so very, very grateful for. I am very, very what's the word that I'm looking for? I'm proud. Proud is the word that I'm looking for. Proud is the word that I'm looking for this community. So thank you guys, all of you, every single one of you, whether you, just watch, whether you're listening in the background, whether you contribute, whether you're a member, whether you're part of the Patreon or not. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this possible and hoping to continue this growth on to 25,000 subscribers here at the Blunt Politics Podcast. So thank you guys so much. Let's go over, a few people here and highlight a few people and thank a few people for their kind contributions. We always like to start on Venmo. Oh, and I don't know if I should probably say anything yet, but I'll wait. I don't want to be the dickhead to do anything wrong as far as that's concerned. But I do have an interview, a discussion coming up with a very popular creator. I'll just say tomorrow before the show. I think we'll be recording it. I don't think it's going to be live or anything like that. So I'll give you more information, more details on that when it's kind of set in stone and obviously when it's done, and I can let you know when it'll be released and stuff like that. But hopefully you guys can follow along with that and support those ventures that we have and appearances on other channels as well. I think you'll well recognize the name of the channel. Got vastly more subscribers than I do, has been a popular voice in this industry for quite some time, and somebody that I again got into this whole scene, this whole atmosphere, watching his stuff. So very, very fortunate and very grateful for the opportunity to get to speak to him. So a little hint right there. So all right, let's get into thanking some people. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. She sends in a nice Slavo-Ukrainian meme with Volodymyr Zelensky. Much appreciated. She says, love you. Right back at you, Rox. Thank you so much for everything. I hope you and Mom are well. Thank you to Brian H. As always, seems like a typical thing that I have to do here. Just very repetitive at having to thank Brian, and I am so grateful for you, dude. I really am. He says, Slava Ukraine. Nothing special today. Just home projects. Good Thursday to all. Right back at you, Bri. I hope all those home projects go well for you. I hope you don't run into any roadblocks, as I typically do when I try to do anything like that. And then from yesterday, as I typically like to give everybody the time and the gratitude that they deserve over the last couple of days. Geneva H. Thank you so much, as always, for everything that you do. It's incredible, the support that you show for this channel. I am very grateful for you. Thank you, and I hope you, again, find a warm and welcoming place in the community. Thank you for Candy as well. Much appreciated for your contributions. A wee tip for your work. I'd see that's the accent that I was picking up yesterday. I knew it. I knew I was picking up an accent. So, Candy, thank you so goddamn much for you. Thank you to Allison M. for your $5. Thank you so much to Kathy A. for your $5. Erica B. For your $10. Jeff, thank you so much for your $4.20. Got the message loud and clear. Roxanne E., thank you so much for the $5. Marty for the $24. Damon for the $10. John McDonough for the $20. Brian H. again. This is over the last couple days, like I said, for the $5. Jim, thank you so much for everything that you do for this channel. Always great to see you as a part of the Zooms and the support that you've shown over the years. Can't thank you enough. Jennifer and Corey, the both of you, absolute saints. Thank you so much. Suzanne M., love you to death. Can't thank you enough for your $25. And then we'll end on Linda, Roger, Karen, and Moms from the last couple days. Everybody that sent in, a couple bucks over on the Venmo action, trying to keep this thing alive, trying to keep this thing going. It's difficult. It is. I won't lie to you and say that there haven't been many, many days where I've woken up and wanted to kind of, just call it off, right? That it's not working, that, the audience isn't there and stuff like that. But every time that I come back and I see you guys in the chat and I see you guys there and you're passionate and you're supportive and, we just have the best community. So that and the intro song really, really kind of pumps me up as well. So thank you guys for keeping me going. Really, thank you guys for making this a slight possibility to make this a career to do this for good. So thank you for everybody on Venmo, and let's go over here to YouTube so we can thank everybody on this side of things. Colleen starting it off today. Thank you so much for your $5. Much appreciated. Shout out to you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Received my beautiful NAFO Summer Drones patch. Let's fucking go, baby. Let's go. Have two now. We'll order a sweatshirt to sew them on. You're the best, Colleen. Thank you so much. And everybody else, too. Whether or not you just shared it out, whether or not you just kind of mentioned it in passing conversation to people, or you donated directly to these NAFO campaigns that we've been involved with. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You see from the coverage that we have how important it is to continue to support Ukraine, the military of Ukraine, where there's areas that definitely need to be filled in. Let's just say, so Colleen, shout out to you and everybody else. I know there's multiple people. I know Dame Dog was on there as well as far as getting his patch. So who else? Nance, thank you so much. Shout out to you. Much love and respect going to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for your kind contributions and everything you do for this channel as well. So Colleen, thank you. Tina, much appreciated for the 10 jewels and the thumbs up. Right back at you, Tina. Hope you're doing great. Bobby Slacks, let's go, brother, for the 10. For the win, W, Bobby Slacks. Damn, that looked like a tactical nuke. Yeah, that fucking, I don't know if I still have it up there, but that, do you remember where we saw that? Was that on Jay and KYIV, or was that on Dennis? I think it might have been on Dennis, but in case anybody joined us late, let me see if I can find that strike that we were looking at, because it did look, was it part of this video that I was looking at? Let me see, you throw this on your screen. Like I said, just in case you joined us late here. Oops, sorry. Let me take that off. It might have been this one. No, I don't think it was that one. I don't think it was that one. And I don't think we went this far back, so it might have been on the... Sorry, let me see if I can find this. Might have been on the Max that we saw it. Was it this one? Sorry, I'm just watching it in the background, seeing if that's the one. That's a big strike. That's one of the big strikes, but that's not the one that we were looking at. Let's just see here. Go back to Max. I forget now which site we saw it on. My apologies. Let's just see here. Pilot of the 422. That's not it. Was this it right here, guys? Was it either? Maybe it was this one? Nope. Oh, wasn't this one either. But, you can tell by the amount of video that we have to go through how substantial the attacks were last night that we're looking at. That's a pretty cool picture right there. I mean, to have been literally standing under that just weeks ago is fucking crazy. Just honestly an experience I will never forget. My second time in Ukraine, and having the opportunity to share some time with the amazing people there, get to know the city in my second time there a lot more than I did in my first trip. But yeah, I don't know where that strike went. Slacks, my apologies, but I do know which one you're talking about. I definitely do know which one you're talking about with the huge bright. Anybody in the chat, you guys know? Let me go back to you guys. You guys remember? Anybody have a good memory on what site we were looking at on that one? What channel? What account? Because, like I said, just in case anybody joined us late, I would like to show anybody that kind of missed it earlier, because it was a pretty substantial strike. It looked like. No, that's not it. All right, my apologies. Was it in this one? Maybe it was in this one. Russell attack. City. Is that the bright? Yeah, here we go. I got it. I got you, Slacksy. Don't you fucking worry. I got your back, Slacks. So this is the strike that Slacks is referring to in the... why is Siri recording everything that I'm doing? Why the fuck would that happen? That was weird. Siri just all of a sudden was just recording everything that I was saying. So this is the strike that we're talking about here. I'll let it play, but take a look at the substantial, well, at least flash that comes out of it. And it definitely looked, apocalyptic. I mean, that's fucking insane. That's literally like the sun. You know what I mean? And to compare it to a tactical nuke, I don't think you'd be kind of out of place. I don't know what the actual munition was specifically for that strike, but that's a pretty fucking substantial blast. And I don't know if that's just like an effect from the camera, or whatnot. But one more time. I mean, that is fucking insanity right there. I mean, in the dead of night, that's what you look out your window to see. That's a fucking scary sight right there. Look at that. And it hangs around too, it doesn't even it's not even quick. And I think there's a secondary explosion that happens as well, if I remember correctly. Yep, see that secondary explosion? So I don't know if that was just the facility that they hit and the equipment that they hit, and obviously how it reacts to the strike itself, or if that has to do, more specifically with the munition that was used. So not really sure on that one, but definitely a couple of substantial explosions on that strike that you've seen on your screen. But appreciate you, Bobby Slacks. Much appreciated for everything. Thank you for the 10. Thank you for reminding us of that, and letting everybody that may have missed that earlier see that. So Slacks, one more time right after for another 10. You're worth $1 billion. Excuse me, $1 billion. I think I added a little bit on that one. My apologies. I times that by a little bit. You are worth millions of dollars for your great service to the community and country, along with your brave support of Ukraine. And again, all of those kind words and appreciation right back at you, Slacks. Literally. So much appreciated to you guys for keeping this running. Thank you to Frank. So many beautiful stays here. Don't get it, but I love you. Don't get it, but I love you. But I've been a member for 21 months, and I can't thank you enough for your membership. Thank you for your generosity. And, yeah, so many beautiful stays here. Right with you. Jimmy Two Soups. Let's fucking go, brother. How are you? For losing your mind laughing about the team. Sorry. Oh, Laura Ingram. I wish I could draw or write on the screen so everybody knew that was Laura Ingraham. Oh, Jimmy, I appreciate you, bro. I do. Thank you so much for the 2. Bald Thanos, thank you so much for the 2. 10% of the super chat goes to all the mods. Yeah, that's after the 60% of that super chat goes to YouTube. Oh, but I love you, Thanos. Thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. Any of you guys that are kind enough to throw anything in there for me, it's just I really do appreciate you. Tiff can never catch me. I'm too clever. Well, you may be, but I wouldn't test it. She's clever. She's clever too. I got a lot of faith in Tiff. But thank you, Bald Thanos. I really appreciate it. And Shovel Dead, rounding it out today. Thank you so much for the $20 contribution. I mean, it's just, again, what can I say? But thank you. It is just, I'm so grateful for you guys and everything that you do for this channel. And hopefully, sharing this out. And at some point, somebody might start clipping this shit and my shorts might start hitting and we can actually get some momentum here. Not saying that we don't. Hopefully, again, the conversation I have tomorrow will kind of help us get our voice out there, get our name out there as well. But we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to fight. We're not going anywhere. That's why I continue to say to you guys, stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive, stay informed, but most important, please stay in the fight, guys. All right. So if you're going out there, if you're getting loud, if you're getting proud, make sure you're keeping your head on a swivel. Make sure you're staying safe. You know where you are, who you're with, and how to get the fuck out of there. And thank you guys for speaking up, really. Being part of the opposition, being part of the resistance here in this movement. It means a lot to fight side by side with you guys. And please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And please hit that notification bell on the way out. You can also, before I let you guys go, check out the Blunt Politics shop, right? You can go to Blunt Politics Shop at my Shopify. You can head over to bostonbrian.com. There is a link, direct link to the merch shop right there. And we do have, if I do say so myself, some fantastic fucking merch. And I know it's covering my face. My apologies. But we do have some fantastic merch. I'm just being truthful. I'm just being honest. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just, I'm not, my bias is not coming out. But we do. These are just, come on. Resist. People understand where you're coming from, what side you're on, right the fuck away. Only you can resist fascist liars. I mean, that's fucking fire, okay? That is fire. Stop pretending your racism is patriotism. Let's fucking go. Who's not in with that? Big fan of human rights? I am. Are you? Absolutely. People of quality don't fear equality. That's a fucking banger. Okay, that is a banger right there. And not to mention that we got new designs on there, right? We're all on the decoy plane. I'm sure you've seen the pictures that have gone out. Mine kind of went, hit a little bit on Instagram as far as those pictures were concerned, but we got that t-shirt already out there. The lobsters that we got the whole fucking 9 yards, really do. So appreciate you guys, anybody heading over there. We also got Ukraine merch, right? As I said, United 24, gets the proceeds there for anything that's Ukraine related. So we're trying to do our part. We really are trying to do our part as a small community, as a small channel, trying to do our thing, trying to make our way here. And just thank you guys for making it as possible as it's become already. And hopefully we can continue to flourish here. Hopefully we can continue to grow. So I'm going to let you go. I know I'm way over, almost 3 hours today, but you guys deserve it. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do. Continue to stay loud. Continue to stay proud. Continue to kick ass here as part of the opposition, as part of the resistance to this fascist movement that we're under right now. And yeah, I'll see you guys. What's today? Thursday? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Friday show. We got the Friday show at 2 p.m. Right here on the East Coast. We got that at 11 a.m. on the West Coast, and then somewhere either in between or maybe not in between, depending on where you live. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you're rowdy and raucous. Leave a couple comments after this is posted. Thank you so much, and I'll hit that I'm out of here button. You know what I mean? All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Big salute to the mods, as always. Love you, appreciate you, respect the shit out of you, and I'll see you tomorrow. My apologies. I'm not going to let that slide. Can't let that slide. Not going to happen. Not going to wait till not going to wait till I leave, right? Not going to be a bitch ass pussy. Wait till I fucking leave and then leave this comment like an absolute degenerate. But quick, if you got a phone, if there was a way to phone in, maybe that, I know Tom Hamill is going to get fucking pissed at me because he's been asking me to do a phone in session for quite some time now. But if there was a way for us to have this discussion, that would be fantastic. Because he says, fuck Democrats and their white, self-loathing, guilt-ridden pussies who enable them. Now, again, that sounds like you have either mommy or daddy issues. I don't know if you Trump is that replacement for the dad that either beat the shit out of you or left you when you were young, or the mom that kind of just never gave a fuck about you and just dropped you off at your friend's house and, did her own thing. And then she was at the bar for the rest of the night. I'm not sure. I really am not sure. I wish we could have a further discussion and figure this thing out. But unfortunately, you waited to the end of the show to be a pussy. You waited to the end of the show to be a troll. And that's okay. That's okay. We all the trolls are invited. Come on in. All the trolls, all your buddies. Tell your buddies where to come. That's actually a good thing. This is a good thing. Dante, make sure you're telling all your fucking degenerate, non-girlfriend having, never touched a fucking woman in their life having friends where they can get all of this commentary, where they can come in and troll the chat. Because, again, you're only padding my stats, motherfucker. Okay? You're only padding the stats. Add some more comments into that chat. What are you going to do? The algorithm's going to see that you're interacting, and it's going to fucking show me to more people. So who's actually winning in the long run? You know what I mean? I'll be back. Okay, hold on. I'll be back, and I'm here in LA with my MAGA Mexican neighbors who will also school you. Oh, okay, vato. Huh? You think you can play, vato? I'm here to play. Come play. That's what I do. Come on. Do you think it scares me that you're in fucking LA? What's that supposed to do? What the fuck's that supposed to do? I'll fucking work you and your friends. How about that? Bring them all. It'll be a fucking party. It'll be like we can make it like a human centipede of fucking absolute destruction of MAGA morons. How about that? Sounds good? All right, I'm out of here. We'll see you tomorrow, Dante. See you tomorrow, buddy. Let him go, chat. Let him go. Let him go. It's only helping the cause. It's only helping the cause. I'm here for it. Let's go. Hola, vato. Dante, how about this? How about this? Why don't you make a YouTube account? Make a YouTube account, get a camera, and we'll have a discussion in front of everybody. How about that? I'll embarrass you in front of your friends, your family, your co-workers, your girlfriend that you imagine that goes to the school. All of them. Bring them all by. Bring them. Fuck. Baby.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Hold on, I got something for you, Dante. Here's your great leader. Remember when he said this?
For minors. Do we love minors? I love minors.
Yeah, that's good. That's the pedophile you're protecting. That's the pedophile you love. Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Huh? How do your friends feel about that?
To officially name the undisputed. When did this come out?
Hey, Dante.
Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls.
Woo!
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means? Acclimated.
I'm just getting fucking started, Dante. Just getting fucking started. Just getting acclimated to this motherfucker.
He says rectum damn near killed him.
Taking him back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses.
Jeez, Dante, you get around. Banging horses? That's crazy.
I'm just dandy. I got a bowl of chocolate pudding in my underpants.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Obama.
Fucking Nazis.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis. I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Dumps, big massive dumps.
For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. He referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. Obama. For the rest of eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Or go fuck yourself.
Hey, Dante.
Or go fuck yourself.
All right, I'm out of here. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
The big fat slide.